next on America's Game of the Week. The Packers look to lock up a playoff berth with a win as they square off against Cutler and the NFC North champion Bears. Fox NFL Sunday continues next with America's Game of the Week.
Gosh, it is 2011. Where have all the years gone? It's America's Game of the Week. The Chicago Bears, the Green Bay Packers, as this rivalry is renewed. It's lovely. 19 degrees here in Green Bay and a wind chill of 5 degrees. And now welcome to the broadcast booth. I'm Joe Buck. That's Troy Aikman. Pam Oliver's coming right up. Troy, hello. Let's talk about Green Bay. We were here last week and we watched the Packers just take apart the New York Giants. They come into this game hoping to get into the playoffs with a win. They are a hot ball club right now.
It's a dangerous team, and the biggest reason for that is because of their play at quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. He's been outstanding, and as long as he continues to play like he did last week, this is a dangerous club. Of course, they've got to win today in order to make it happen in January.
Chicago Bears are the number 2 seed. They're dangerous, and they're trying to build on the momentum of putting up 78 points over the last 2 weeks.
And they've got a hot quarterback as well, and you look over the last 8 games and what they've been able to do specifically offensively. Mike Martz deserves a lot of credit for that. They're balanced, they're running the football, mixing it up. It's a confident football team right now.
Let's go down to the field. Here's Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, the Packers will not even get a chance to scoreboard watch. They will not be exposed to whatever is happening in the New York Giants game. It is an organizational decision not to show that score, and it's obviously an attempt to keep the Packers focused on what's right there in front of them. Back to you.
All right, Pam, and if we get an update on the Giants here early, we'll be quiet when we pass it on so that the Packers don't hear it. Green Bay will receive the opening kickoff. Off we go as Robbie Gould hits it with Pat Lee returning kicks today from inside the 10 out to the 25 and knocked down at the 28. Take a look at the offense for Green Bay, and as Troy said, there isn't a hotter quarterback around. How about the week last week? 515 total yards of offense, 404 yards passing for Aaron Rodgers, and Chad Clifton is the only Pro Bowler on the offensive line. We'll be saying it a lot today for Green Bay. A win here today, and they're in the playoffs. They start with a run. Here's Jackson. Right up the gut. Out just across the 35, a gain of 8.
You're going to see fullback Quinn Johnson, number 45. Urlacher here in the middle. He reads run right away. He hits it going downhill, but a heck of a collision right there in the middle. And a good lead block by Quinn Johnson, leading the way for a nice gain on first down.
And as you look at the numbers and you know the names on the backs of the jerseys for Chicago, they're locked in at the number 2 seed, but their starting defense is out there to begin this game. They cannot improve their position today. Driver trying to get through Tim Jennings, cannot. And it'll be 3rd down and short. As you look at this defense, they're number 4 in the NFL, allowing just 18.4 points per game. Peppers is a Pro Bowler first year as a Bear, and 2 Pro Bowl linebackers with Urlacher and Briggs.
You know, overall, this has been a good year again for this Bears defense, but you look at what they've done recently, specifically last week against the Jets, before that against the New England Patriots. They have shown a few holes here over the last 3 games.
Inside handoff on 3rd down. It depends on the spot. John Kuhn, and from where the officials are running in, now one veers a little bit on the far side. We'll see if it's an early first down or not. And it is. John Kuhn is now 9 for 10 on 3rd down and 1 and picking up a first down.
They went with a full house backfield there and gave it to Kuhn in the middle, and Tom Crabtree was trying to help out as best that he could.
First down, Green Bay at midfield. A 12-yard completion from Aaron Rodgers.
Well, that's one of those situations where it's a called run in the huddle, and then it's up to Aaron Rodgers as to whether or not he's going to throw the slant route on the outside. He recognized the blitz. They brought linebackers in to play the run, and a good read and pickup by Aaron Rodgers, getting the ball quickly out of his hand.
On first down, Brandon Jackson. Jackson over the right side picks up 3. Lovie Smith was on the hottest of the hot seats among coaches across the NFL after last year's season under 500. His Bears have not been back to the playoffs since they went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Colts in the 06 season. And here they are as the number 2 seed, really hitting their stride after their bye week. Penalty flags fly. Jennings drops it.
The Chicago Bears like to show that cover too, and they did.
Number 71, defense, 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
That's Alberto Riverone, and it was against the defense. So 5 free yards, and Aaron Rodgers almost hit a home run with Jennings.
Yeah, it was Israel Adonijah right here is who they called it on. He got into the neutral zone, and Aaron Rodgers knew that he had a free play. And one-on-one on the outside. What I was going to say is Chicago Bears, they like to start their coverages showing a 2-deep shell look with their safeties, and then everything works off of that. Aaron Rodgers said he's going to delay the snap count to try to get them to declare.
Here's John Kuhn on second down and 2. He gets nothing. Maybe picked up half a yard if you want to be generous. So 3rd and 2 coming up for the Green Bay Packers. Packers winners last week. That kept their hopes alive as they beat the Giants. Giants are playing right now in Washington, hoping for a Chicago win here and a win against the Redskins to get New York into the playoffs. 3rd and 2. Rodgers dumps it off, and it's dropped by Jackson.
I think the throw just kind of threw Brandon Jackson off. You see Aaron Rodgers, because he gets pressure right away, he immediately gets it out, and between the two bodies of Lance Briggs and Julius Peppers is just a ball that Brandon Jackson didn't appear to pick up real well. Wasn't able to make the adjustment for the reception.
So here is Devin Hester, who leads the NFL, averaging over 17 yards per punt return. Mastay hits it. And a fair catch called for and hauled in by Hester. So we'll take a break, come back. 2 first downs on that first possession for Green Bay, but a punt. Bears have it. No score. Chicago starts at their own 14. Trying to beat the Packers, trying to beat this crowd noise. And Matt Forte can't get around Clay Matthews. No gain to start the day on the initial carry by Forte, who's been getting better and better. Pro Bowler is Hester, but that's as a kick returner. And while Forte has gotten better, the big reason the offensive line has gotten better. Settled in, 2nd and 10. Forte running right, not much room. A minimal gain of 3. Eric Walden on the stop. And now the defense, the 3-4 put together by Don Capers. They are still without Cullen Jenkins up front. Clay Matthews, a Pro Bowler, 2 years in the NFL, 2 Pro Bowls, and there's the secondary with 2 guys who got the nod. Tramon Williams was snubbed. He was deserving with 6 picks. whistles stop the play just before the snap.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
You know, Joe, they broke the huddle with 12 seconds to go, but you saw all the shifts and the motions that the Bears came out and are trying to run, and it's really by design. It's something that Mike Martz likes to do. He always does each and every week, but this week in particular, and talking with him, knowing that there's a lot of key guys, new guys on that Packers defense, young players that they're having to depend on, trying to confuse them a little bit with some of the shifts and motions. That time, they didn't have enough time to get the ball snapped.
It's 3rd down and 12. Over the middle, pass caught by Forte, and he won't get the first down. A.J. Hawk, the first one there for the Packers. 3 and out for Chicago with their first possession.
Well, the Green Bay Packers do a good job on 3rd down. We all know Dom Capers and how he likes to break down protections up front, mix things up on the back end. That delay of game penalty really hurt the Bears in not being able to convert on 3rd down.
Now Maynard to punt, does not have the big leg. He's a good directional kicker. He hits a good one here. That's as good as Maynard's going to hit it. Inside the 30, Tramon Williams. Not much room along the sideline, and he is stood up at the 35. Take a break, come back. Packers will have it for the second time. They need a win, and they're in. No score in Green Bay.
This is the point.
They run it enough to keep a defense honest, but they make their yardage through the air. A cold day in Green Bay, delayed handoff. Jackson. Not much. He got smoked, a gain of 1. Tino Isamal was the first one there for Chicago. Here are the early game headliners. The Falcons, they took care of business, and they now have the home field advantage in the NFC. The Steelers, they're the number 2 seed as they clinch the AFC North. They have a bye. In Tampa Bay, they may not get into the playoffs. It depends on the Green Bay Packers and the Giants. But they have a 10-win season, and they have one of the best young quarterbacks in the league in Josh Freeman. Jackson knocked down with a first down by Lance Briggs.
Well, you look at the Green Bay Packers each week, and they like to mix in a lot of different kinds of screens, and they should be good against the Chicago Bears because the Bears are a fast-flowing defensive team, and they fly around to the ball. And already here in the early going defensively, we've seen the linebackers, Lance Briggs, Brian Urlacher, piece of Tino Isamoa, and they are flying around. And so to combat that and try to neutralize that speed, you come back with the screen game.
Starks in the backfield, they fake it to him. Rodgers has all day and now comes underneath to Starks. First down, Green Bay. He's been inactive the last 2 weeks. Started the season on the physically unable to perform list, and he has 12 and a first down.
Chad Clifton, who's had somewhat of an up and down season, as you said, Joe, Pro Bowl player, one-on-one there on Julius Peppers. He's going to be asked to block him throughout this game, but because he does a good job on that play, Aaron Rodgers had time to survey the field, down the field, nothing deep, came underneath.
He's already hit 4 different receivers here over 2 possessions. On first down, over the middle, it was broken up. Anthony Adams got his hands in there, knocked it away from James Starks.
There's a little bit of a game going on. You're going to see here, you've got Chris Harris, and he starts up like he's going to be the extra defender in the box. And that's when Aaron Rodgers then called an audible, went to the pass game, and then Chris Harris drops back into their 2-deep pass coverage. And that's kind of the Mickey Mouse game that they like to run, and that's why Aaron Rodgers talked about trying to extend the snap count a little bit and get a good read on what it is the Bears are trying to do within their coverage.
On second down and 10, pass is caught, driver dropped it. It's a catch and a fumble, and the Chicago Bears have recovered. An early turnover as driver caught it, spun, it was knocked out by DJ Moore. Green Bay turns it over. Bears have it, no score.
Hey, Marty, did you just text me that my house is an eyesore?
Third in the NFL with 33 takeaways. That's number 34. Tillman recovered. DJ Moore knocked it out. Devin Hester in motion. And this one's batted down. B.J. Raji, who was playing at a Pro Bowl level, did not get the Pro Bowl nod, knocked it away.
We'll go back and take a look at this fumble, and there was question as to whether or not Mike McCarthy could have challenged this call. I think had he of, they would not have won the challenge. It seemed to me Donald Driver had possession of the ball, then turned, DJ Moore knocks it out. You know, the Bears came into this game, you talk about their total takeaways, Joe. Second in the league, however, in forcing fumbles. This is a defense that rallies to the ball, and when they get there, they attack the football, just as we saw.
Second down and 10. Cutler with time, slings it, nearly picked off by Bishop. Tried to force a fastball into Devin Hester. It's 3rd and 10.
Yeah, you'll see Cutler every now and then. You know, he's got such confidence in his arm strength, and I'm not so sure he even saw Bishop at all. Either that or he saw that he was moving away from where he was throwing the ball and could fit it off of him. But Bishop able to at least get back on the ball and get his hands on it.
Brings up a bigger point with regard to Cutler. But right now it's 3rd and 10. Over the middle, pass caught. Rashid Davis short of a first down. Good open field tackle by Woodson, a gain of 6, and it's 3 and out again.
Well, it's man coverage in the secondary by the Green Bay Packers, and that's the guy that Cutler has to have win on the route. Rashid Davis is working the middle of the field. It's one-on-one. That guy has to create some separation, and if he's able to, there's a lot of room to run then after the catch. But a good job by the Packers in making a tackle and not giving up the first down.
Maynard hit a beauty his first time. Number 3 all-time in punts in NFL history. Now hits a line drive on this cold day, and it takes a good Chicago Bears bounce. Maynard's 2 for 2. He's hit one deep and now gets one after the bounce of 48. Packers have it 3rd time. No score. Piece on Vince Lombardi that is brilliant. You want to get a flavor of what the man was like. We see a ring of fame here that's some of the greatest names in the history of this sport.
Boy, second to none.
Starting at their own 11, 3rd time they've had it. Bears have come to play today. They're not mailing it in, even though they can't change their seed. Here's one wide open. Jordy Nelson makes the catch. Good throw by Rodgers and a big gain of 25.
Well, Aaron Rodgers, he keeps the play alive, but you're going to see Jordy Nelson here working right through the middle of that defense, and because Rodgers is able to sidestep the pass rush and then still keep his eyes down the field, he's able to lay a nice ball in there behind the linebackers to Jordy Nelson, who had himself a really nice game last week, Joe, a career high over 120 yards receiving against the Giants.
Including an 80-yarder for a touchdown early, first points of that game. Here's Brandon Jackson. And he stood up, no gain. If you're Chicago, you come into this game, you know you can't change where you're going to head into the playoffs. You're going to be the number 2 seed, but you're trying to build on the momentum of the last 2 weeks. And there should be every incentive not only to beat your rival, the Green Bay Packers, and thereby sweep the division, but also knock the Green Bay Packers out of the playoffs potentially, because Green Bay has to go in, wild card, whatever, as one of the hottest teams and a most dangerous team that you can find in the conference.
Hey, I agree with you. I mean, this team, because of the play of Aaron Rodgers, if they get into postseason, they're going to be awfully dangerous.
Here's Jones. This is what they do so well. They spread it around, and the minute you focus on Jennings, there's Driver. Focus on those two, there's Nelson There's the tight end. There's James Jones, who's good here for 8.
Well, and in addition to that, Mike McCarthy does really an excellent job of blending this entire offense into one package. And you see a lot of different formationing, a lot of different personnel groupings. They run the ball, and that's the thing that I think that they've done a nice job of here over the last month, is really establishing the running game, even though they haven't been all that effective in yards per carry. It's the rushing attempts where they've been really good.
Rodgers going to try and run for it, won't make it. He slides down. Remember, he's had the 2 concussions this season, so instead of sticking his chin out, he slides down in the arms of Lance Briggs, and it's 4th down.
Just nowhere for him to go with the football, and trying to get as much as he could before he ran into Lance Briggs. But I know a lot of Packer fans, especially Mike McCarthy, pretty happy to see him go to the ground.
Devin Hester waits for the punt. He has one earlier this season against Green Bay. Line drive punt, and it's a good one from Mastek. Directional punting, such a lost art in the NFL. Mastek keeps it away from Devin Hester. And the Bears will start at their 16. No score.
We're looking at a delay of anywhere between 15 minutes.
Chill, it feels like 5 degrees down on that field. The Bears have it at their own 16. And hand it off to Matt Forte. Gets the edge. Matt Forte with the best play of the day for Chicago so far. Pepra knocks him out after a run of 24 yards in the first down for Chicago.
Well, misdirection. They get Roberto Garza, the right guard, along with Greg Olsen out in front, and they collapse the edge there of the Green Bay Packers. Just no containment by the Packers, and so Forte, with his speed, is able to get on the edge and get a nice gain.
The changes up front on this offensive line from the start of the season. They have moved pieces all over the place trying to find the best combination, and now they're rolling. Forte inside the 45, down inside the 40. 2 big ones from Matt Forte, who has been one of the hottest backs in the NFL.
This time they're going to pull out Chris Williams, and you're going to see him along with Olin Kreutz, and they do a nice job. Brandon Manu-Maliuna, he's leading the way as well. Just some nice holes on these last 2 plays that this Bears offensive line have created.
Williams, who played the first 2 games at left tackle. Now it's Frank Omiyale at left tackle. He started the season at right tackle. Here's Chester Taylor. That last run by Forte for 21 yards. Now Taylor gets 2, knocked down by Desmond Bishop.
I mean, this season really for the Bears has been 2 different years, essentially, when you consider what they did, or really what they didn't do offensively up until the bye week. They come off of the bye week, and Mike Martz made a commitment to saying the only way we're going to have a chance to be successful is if we play to the strengths of our team, that being special teams, that being a good defense. We've got to maintain ball possession and not turn the ball over, and they've relied more heavily on their running game.
Now they fake the handoff. Cutler dragged down too late, and the pass from Manu-Maliuna was too low. Raji with pressure. 3rd and 8 coming up. Here's a game break, and Kurt.
Well, the Giants trying to keep the pressure on Green Bay. Hey, he's no Matt Forte, but Eli Manning on 3rd and 11 carries it for 14 yards, led to a field goal for a 3-0 lead, and Washington just missed a 30-yard kick, so it remains 3-0 Giants on top in the first quarter. Joe, Troy, and Pam.
All right. It's now 3rd and 8 here. And Cutler needs a timeout. Couldn't get his team lined up. I alluded to this earlier for Jay Cutler. He's had statistically one of the better 2-year runs at quarterback in the history of the Chicago Bears. The numbers would tell you that what he's been able to do in his 2 seasons since being traded from Denver, there it is, over 6,700 yards, 50 touchdown passes, most over a 2-year span, all those numbers. And while there's a lot of good, he will also frustrate you by becoming a gambler at times, trying to force it in, and he will throw some killer picks.
I think even as good as he's been over the second half of just this year, he can play a lot better.
It's 3rd and 8. Blitz coming from Green Bay. Cutler in trouble. Down he goes. Jarius Wynn, A.J. Hawk, a loss of 9.
A.J. Hawk brings the inside pressure right between the center guard, and nobody picks him up. Chris Williams has got to squeeze that, but he forces Cutler then to the outside right into Wynn.
No team has allowed more sacks in the NFL. That is the 51st sack allowed by Chicago. Maynard will show what he can do with his directional punting. Should be the last play of the quarter. And Maynard hits it over to the sideline, and it takes a bounce into the end zone. So when we start the second quarter, Green Bay will have it at the 20. The Packer defense makes a play. After one, no score. Back after the from the first quarter, there are no points. Green Bay starts at its own 20. Rodgers has hit 6 different receivers so far. And he hands off to Starks. Starks picks up 3. We ask you to not miss the opening of Bob's Burgers, a delicious new addition to Sunday's Animation Domination Entertainment Weekly raves. A comedy this well done is very rare indeed. Premieres 1 week from tonight after an all-new Simpsons on Fox. The best thing I can say about it is we watched it last night in our meeting room, very skeptical when we put the DVD in. A focus group of weirdos we were, and every one of us was laughing out loud. Out to the 30. First down for Green Bay is now James Starks. The deal with him was he's been inactive the last 2 weeks. And Mike McCarthy, his head coach, has said he's got to learn how to practice better. Then he'll be active. Well, they have Corey Hall out with a knee injury, so he's active. And he may get some work here this afternoon.
Yeah, and he's still in the lineup right now. And you think back to last week, Dimitri Nance, he got a number of carries in that game against the Giants. So they want to definitely rotate those back. Give them all some work.
Here's Driver. They're asking him to do a lot, and he falls forward for 1, driving through Tillman. Donald Driver, who's the all-time franchise leader in receptions, is, at least at the start of the day, 83 yards shy of becoming the all-time leader in Packer history in receiving yardage as he trails James Lofton.
Well, he's just been a pleasure to watch throughout his career. One of the really unselfish wide receivers in the National Football League, does a lot of the dirty work, as tough as they come, and an excellent blocker in the run game.
It's 2nd down and 9. Pass to Driver, first down, as he launches himself a gain of 10. Lance Briggs on the stop, and Driver's trying to get this crowd pumped up.
You know, he's battled through, Joe, a lot of nagging injuries this year. He came into this season with 6 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, and that's obviously not going to happen here this year. But you know, what a valuable guy to have, of course, with Greg Jennings and all the big plays that he's able to create on the outside. But just a reliable inside player for Aaron Rodgers, Donald Driver is.
Rodgers using his legs. There's a flag thrown for a hold. This one, it appears, is coming back. Jennings down inside the 30, but there's a flag back at the Green Bay 32.
Holding, number 75. Offense, 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
They get the rookie Bulaga.
Yeah, there was a twist up front by the Bears, and when Bulaga comes off of that, he does a good job of recognizing it. It's Melton, and he got his right hand on him. And Brian Bulaga, who I think is going to be an outstanding player in the years to come. I think he's been pretty good this year, but he has shown some inconsistencies.
Last week, Mike McCarthy said he's starting to look like a rookie here lately, although I would say on that particular play, it didn't look like he did much at all. It eliminates a 32-yard completion to Jennings. And it brings the ball back for a 1st and 20 to the Green Bay 31. Timeout, Packers. Play clock down to 1. 1st and 20 when we come back. No score at Lambeau Field. The rookie, instead of a 1st and 10 of the Bears 27. 1st and 20 at their own 31. We looked at it from the other side, and Bulaga got a little bit of the jersey of Henry Melton. That's why the flag was thrown, so 1st and 20. Rodgers is in trouble. Down he goes. A sack for the Chicago defense, and Henry Melton, who was held, was in on the sack with Urlacher.
Pretty good coverage. Initially, it looked like the Bears were going to bring pressure. They only ended up rushing 4, and Aaron Rodgers pulled up 1 to get the ball quickly out of his hands. Didn't have anywhere to go with it, and then that's when the pass rush was able to get up on him.
How many Giants fans do you think are flipping back and forth between games, watching what's going on here at Lambeau Field, thinking, stay after him, Lovie Smith? With the Giants leading 3-0 at last report at Washington. Rodgers gets away from 1, and now down he goes. Briggs is there for Chicago. A gain of 2, and Rodgers can't find anywhere to go with the football.
And I think that's the big thing, Joe, is the line hasn't been that bad, but there just hasn't really been anywhere to go with the ball. You see Urlacher and Briggs, they drop out underneath the shorter things, and even though Aaron Rodgers is able to escape outside the pocket, there's just nowhere for him to throw the football.
Briggs already has 7 tackles in this game, and now it's 3rd and 21. Here's Kuhn underneath, and he lowers his shoulder and helmet, runs through Tillman, picks up 7. It's 4th down, but this is what put this drive on hold.
Yeah, this is the look right here, and this is why the penalty came in on the hold on Bulaga after that big gain. Right there on Melton, you see the right hand up on his chest. And you're right, from the other look, it didn't appear that he did much, Joe, but that was the position of the official that then threw the flag.
Mastay hits a beauty. From inside the 10, here's Hester's chance to return one. And Devin Hester, the Pro Bowl kick returner who has 14 touchdowns returning kicks, has one for 18. Bears have it, no score. Keep talking about Chicago having scored 78 points over the previous 2 games. Green Bay scored 72. And there's no score with 9:46 left in the half. Quick hitter, Rasheed Davis breaks a couple of tackles and is out across the 45. They'll mark him at the 47. A catch and run of 22 yards.
You get the ball out of your hands quickly, and then as a defensive back, you've got to be able to come up and make the tackle. And if you fail to do that, then you've got a chance for a gain. There's a blitz off the slot, and so you've got a safety who's coming down on Rasheed Davis. And if he doesn't make the tackle, you got a big gain. Oftentimes, you got a touchdown. But the Packers able to rally and at least keep it to a good gain, but not a touchdown.
Peppra missed that initial tackle. Faking the screen left, they throw it to the right to Matt Forte. And Matt Forte gets 4. This holiday season, it's only fitting that we remind you of the hometown of Jay Cutler, the 27-year-old quarterback. He's from Santa Claus, Indiana, the southwestern part of Indiana. Just over 2,000 residents, and each year the post office receives thousands of letters addressed to Santa Claus.
I've actually been to Santa Claus, Indiana.
And?
Well, I mean, it's a nice place. There's a lot of, as we saw, there's a lot of Santa Claus representation there. But I saw where Jay Cutler played his high school ball.
2nd down and 7. to the Green Bay 45 as Matt Forte gain of 5, third down coming up.
I wasn't there to see Jay Cutler, by the way.
I mean, that's really.
I've got a friend who actually has a farm there in Santa Claus.
Really? Sounds like a fun time. You know how to roll.
Oh, don't you know it.
Third down and 2. Cutler drops it off. What a catch by Forte. Matt Forte down inside the 20. Bishop on the stop, and Jay Cutler from Santa Claus, Indiana, made that play happen.
Yeah, and you got Clay Matthews, who he's bull rushing Jamarcus Webb there, the rookie, and forces Cutler out of the pocket. Initially, Matt Forte was just hooking up over the ball, but then he realized Cutler's in trouble. He scrambles with him, and Cutler's able to find him for a nice pickup.
This is the number 23 offense, 23rd best offense inside the red zone, scoring touchdowns. That's where the Bears are, in position for the first points of this game. Play clock was almost at zeros, and Cutler spends the Bears' second timeout. Take a break. 1st and 10, Chicago. Trying to score first here at Lambeau. Giants still lead 3-0 in Washington. They're in, the Giants, with a win and a Packer loss. Packers are in with a win. First time either team's been inside the red zone. Rashid Davis has been busy. Forced out by Woodson just inside the 10, a gain of 9.
And I think if you look at the Packers defensively, you know, one of the reasons why they've been so good at not giving up points this year is because they don't typically allow teams to get into the red zone. I mean, they don't have that many possessions against them down in this area. But when teams have gotten down here, they generally have had pretty good success punching them in for touchdowns.
Over 50% of the time. Is the stat number 2 in the league, allowing under 16 points per game, Green Bay. Here's a pass caught by Davis, and he is knocked by the Pro Bowler Collins. But a first down, a catch, and gain of 6 yards.
Pretty good lick there by Nick Collins. He's back there at the safety position and is able to drive on this throw. But not until after they're able to pick up the first down.
That's a 4th catch for Davis. 1st and goal from the 4. Hand off to Forte. Maybe a yard. And that big guy in the middle, B.J. Raji, who, as we said, certainly is playing at a Pro Bowl level. He's really made this defense go up front, and he's working without that presence of Cullen Jenkins on the outside as Raji made this tackle.
He's been real good all season long. He's been exceptional here over the last couple of weeks, and he's picked up right where he's left off here in the last 2 games. He's having himself a nice first half here this afternoon.
2nd and goal. Cutler slings it, incomplete, no flags, 3rd and goal. Trying to get it to Johnny Knox, who does not have a catch in this first half.
Pretty tight coverage. Right there, you see in the middle, Charlie Peppra, he's on his back. It looked like he might have gotten away with a hold as Knox is trying to work back to the ball.
Yeah, I'll say he did. Jersey was stretched out, but no flag, and it's 3rd and goal. Walden coming off the edge.
Well, you're going to see Walden. He was close to maybe being offsides. He just got such a great jump off of the ball. You're going to see him right here. And he's just able to get right around there, O'Meal at left tackle. And Jay Cutler never even felt that he was coming.
The reaction from offensive coordinator Mike Martz. And now a 30-yard try by Gold. One of the most accurate kickers in NFL history is good. And the first points are on the board. They belong to the visitors. Trying to sweep the division. This season, Chicago 3, Green Bay nothing. Walden on 3rd and goal. Forced the field goal try. Gold was good from 30. Good drive put together by Chicago. Matt Forte a big part of it. 10-play drive, and now on the run it's Pat Lee. Has a little room to run on the near sideline, and a good return out near the 39. And so now Aaron Rodgers will go to the field, and we from afar let you peek into our booth. We're jumping around during the breaks and trying to stay warm, but so far Aaron Rodgers has had some time, but he has had nowhere to throw the ball here in the first half.
No, this Bears defense has done a nice job. In fact, really both defenses have overall here in this first half. And you know, for two offenses that came into this game playing very well, these defenses have met the challenge.
Jackson, a tailback, he gets it, and there is nowhere to run. A gain of 1. Idonije is there for Chicago. Idonije's had a good year. Came into this game tied for the team lead with 8 sacks. He made the play, and they're the first 4 possessions. 3 punts and a Donald Driver fumble. 2nd and 9.
You know, this offense last week sure was good, and Aaron Rodgers in particular over 400 yards passing. And you know, I don't get too excited too often about quarterback play, but last week's performance by Rodgers I thought was about as good as I've seen in a long time.
2nd down and 9. Pass is too low, too hard, and dropped by Greg Jennings. Why don't you get excited by quarterback play? That was your position.
Well, no,
nobody can do it after you hung it up.
No. I mean, I like it, but I guess it takes me a little bit anyway to get excited about seeing someone do some things that for most people it's kind of, you know, what's to be expected, but I just thought he delivered the ball extremely well, managed that game you know, as good as could be expected, and just playing at a high level, not just that week, but you know, really here over the last 5 or 6 games that he has played.
And Bulaga started too soon.
False start, number 75, offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Yeah, you know, he sees Briggs, and then he's got Julius Peppers over there, and no question that he moved early. And I think that's been the real frustration for Mike McCarthy is, you know, as good as he has been at times, it's just those types of mental lapses that has affected the year that he has had. But to go back kind of to what we talked about, I think eventually he makes the move to left tackle. That's his natural position, and he's going to be around for a long time, a lot like what Chad Clifton has been already.
A 2-time Pro Bowler Clifton. Rodgers now going to run, tripped up and brought down by Idonije. It won't go as a sack, obviously a gain of 6, but it is a defensive stop. And Rod Marinelli, who has taken over this season as defensive coordinator, has got his team dialed in here today at Lambeau.
He sure does, with a lot of zone coverages and just getting underneath some of the underneath throws and not giving up anything deep, which is, you know, a Bears trademark. Things opened up in the middle. Rodgers thought he might be able to take it and run for the 1st down, but he didn't get very far.
Mastay just has himself angled to the sideline, can't knock it out of bounds. Devin Hester on the return is out across the 25. Daytona, the Daytona 500 coming up.
Dale Earnhardt has won the Daytona 500.
Checkered flag, perfect.
The win the Daytona 500 is the Ball Legend, Jimmy Murray.
The Great American Race this February on Fox. After what is a big date for everyone across the NFL, February 6th in Arlington, Cowboys Stadium in Super Bowl 45 here on Fox. 2:55 left in the half. Bears have the ball in a 3-point lead. A toss to Chester Taylor. Rather short toss and a gain of 5 as Nick Collins made the stop. And here are the offensive leaders for Chicago.
Well, Matt Forte, as far as running the ball, he's off to another pretty good start here. And we saw Chester Taylor get his opportunity on this last play. And Chester Taylor, who's always made the most of the limited opportunities that he's had throughout his career, has really struggled here over the second half of the season, while everyone else offensively has kind of elevated their play.
Bears picked him up on the first day of free agency. He stays in the ball game, running left, looking for somewhere to go with it, cuts it upfield, crosses the 35, a gain of 4, third down coming up. And that'll take us to the 2-minute warning already at Lambeau. Bears have it, third down when we come back. Well, we know this on a cold day in Green Bay, Wisconsin, 18 degrees. There's the wind chill at the bottom. The Chicago Bears are going to the playoffs. The Green Bay Packers have to win here today or they are out. And on 3rd and 1, it's a play fake. Cutler throws, sideline knocks, and incomplete, 4th down. Tramon Williams on the coverage, and not much of an argument from Johnny Knox.
That was a good play fake in the backfield, and you see it there. It goes to the ground, and a ball that was actually thrown pretty well by Jay Cutler, keeping it low to where only Knox could then make a play on it. Generally, if you're going to run a play fake like that, you may be looking to take a shot deep down the field. Nobody running down the middle. Not really a lot of places for Cutler to go with it other than on the outside with the one-on-one matchup on Tramon Williams.
So it's Brad Maynard again. Green Bay has 2 timeouts remaining, under 2 to play in the half. Tramon Williams waiting deep. He had the coverage on Johnny Knox. And it's a line drive punt. Williams will stay away, and it will hop out of bounds. Another good punt from Maynard. 47-yard punt, and they will mark it at the 17. Visa halftime reports coming up. Kurt, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy will have scores and highlights. Fox Sports Ticker will have all the latest stats, and as they look at the playoff picture, it's pretty simple. Tampa Bay won, so they're still alive, but they have to hope for a loss by Green Bay and a loss by the Giants. Giants are winning, and if the Giants win and the Green Bay Packers lose, the Giants are in, despite what has transpired over their last 5 quarters of play. That meltdown at home against the Eagles, and then losing here last week, 45-17. Pass is caught by Corliss. And on first down, a gain of 5. Clock is winding. Packers have 2 timeouts.
Right now, the Bears are just hopeful that them not converting on 3rd and short doesn't come back to bite them here before the end of this first half, and that their defense will be able to step up and make a key stop here again.
Starters still in there for Chicago. Rodgers will pick up a first down and stop the clock. We talked about it last week. That's what he does so well, making plays happen with his legs. Sometimes he'll slide, look to throw, but when he pulls it down and runs with it, he's one of the best in the NFL.
Yes, he is, and I know that in visiting with Lovie Smith coming into this game, he talked about Aaron Rodgers and how well he's playing. Of course, his own quarterback's been playing pretty good, but he said, hey, I've been a fan of Aaron Rodgers going back to when he was quarterback at Cal. Lovie Smith has a great deal of respect for what Aaron Rodgers brings to the game each week.
Sideline broken up, and what a good play made. No penalty flag on Tim Jennings. He came over the back of Greg Jennings, and no interference call.
Yeah, see if there was contact at the top, and you had the right arm there. That's a close play. I can certainly see where they could have gone either way. But Tim Jennings has been a real pleasant surprise for this Bears defense. Zach Bowman was the starter to begin the year opposite of Charles Tillman. But Tim Jennings got his opportunity, and he has really played well.
In fact, Bowman lost his starting job after that first game against Green Bay in Chicago at the end of September. Rodgers has to use his legs here. And now will throw across his body, and catch is out of bounds, made by Quarles. And there's a flag down on the field, back where Rodgers threw it.
Roughing the passer. Number 90, defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And that's the flag for roughing the passer.
Yeah, I don't agree with that call at all. I mean, you see that Julius Peppers comes in, he's going to get a hit on the quarterback. I mean, it was a bang-bang deal, and he didn't lead with his helmet. He actually tucked his shoulder so that he would lead with the shoulder.
And he hit Rodgers in his shoulder pad. I mean, I don't know what else is he supposed to do. That's a bad call.
Yeah, I think it's a bad call as well, and I've talked about it, ad nauseum, just that the protection that quarterbacks are afforded, it certainly has impacted games for the last several years.
Underneath, Brandon Jackson out to midfield. He stood up by Briggs. And a timeout taken by Green Bay. They'll have one left. Let's go back and take a look.
You see here where he comes in and he's putting a hit on Aaron Rodgers, which is what you would expect. But I'm not sure that as he's coming in and then seeing the ball being released that he could have pulled up. It wasn't a violent hit by any means, but to me it was within the framework of the rules.
And that's Julius Peppers talking to Alberto Riverone, who threw the flag. And Julius Peppers, who will be headed to his 6th Pro Bowl. First time for Chicago they will send a defensive end to the Pro Bowl since Richard Dent in '93. They signed him to a 6-year, $91.5 million deal, 42 of it guaranteed. He was a triple jumper in high school. He's a great athlete, played basketball at North Carolina for a couple of years, and now a 6-time Pro Bowl defensive end. It's 2nd and 4. Bears back out of the blitz. Rodgers floats it and dropped. Jennings was thinking touchdown. Off his hands, and it's 3rd down for Green Bay.
Boy, what a well-thrown ball by Aaron Rodgers as he steps up in the pocket. Just lays it perfectly over Tim Jennings and right into the arms here of Greg Jennings. And that could have been a touchdown had he have been able to make that catch. It goes back to last week. James Jones had an opportunity for a long touchdown reception last week and dropped it. You don't see that very often by Greg Jennings.
First-time Pro Bowler Greg Jennings. It's 3rd and 4. Rodgers flushed out to his right. Throws off the hands of Jones, and it's 4th down. There may have been room for Rodgers to run for the first down. Instead, he threw a fastball to James Jones. He could not make the catch.
Well, Jones started up the field and then turned around. The ball got on him pretty quickly, but he has had some drops. We just talked about the one that he had last week. He had a couple of them in that ball game, as a matter of fact. Had some bobbles that he was actually able to pull in. I asked Mike McCarthy about his hands this week. He said he's got good hands. He just lacks concentration from time to time. That one was not an easy catch to make, but one he certainly should have made.
Mastay drives it into the end zone. 1 timeout remaining for each side. 33 seconds on the clock here in the first half. Next weekend, we're into playoff mode. The NFL's 2nd season. And our coverage of the postseason begins with the NFC wild card next Sunday in high definition. We do not know the matchup as we talk to you right now. In fact, you don't know the entire field of the NFC. The ball was floated for Greg Jennings. That was 1 drop. And then a fastball on a cold day fired by Aaron Rodgers off the hands of James Jones. 2 misses. That's the 5th punt for Green Bay in this half. Here's Forte, a gain of 2. And these two sides may be content with letting the half end 3-0. There's Rod Marinelli, who has got to be fired up with the way his defense has played here in the first half.
Boy, just not only, through this first half, but through this season. And Rod Marinelli, really one of the most respected coaches in all of football.
A defensive battle at Lambeau. 3 points, 9 punts. 3-0 Chicago after a half. Visa halftime coming up after a word from your local Fox station. We welcome you back to Lambeau Field, getting ready for the start of the third quarter. Here are the stats in a 3-0 game. Chicago on top. See the total yards about even. Turnover, Donald Driver fumble. And so it's 3-0. I think a couple things are interesting. First of all, the Green Bay Packers have not been good really since the start of 08, but this season in particular in close games. All of their losses, all 6, have been by 4 points or less. Here they are in a 3-point game. We'll see how that unfolds. And the other side is Chicago. If you come in and you say, well, we're going to play our starters, see how it goes, and then adjust, they have nothing to gain. But why would they pull back with the way they're playing so far here today?
Well, I think that's the question that Lovie Smith is going to have to ask himself is to, okay, well, what's the benefit of this? I think there's something to be said if you get a chance to one, beat the Packers for the second time in the season, which is meaningful to Lovie Smith. But as we talked about earlier, to knock them out of postseason play, I still think this is a dangerous team if they do get into postseason. But looking at this right now and what all has taken place in the first half, both these defenses are playing awfully good football and getting off the field on third downs.
So with two teams that have been rolling offensively, putting up points the previous 2 games, it's a 3-point game here at Lambeau. You can follow your favorite team all season long. Just go to itunes.com/NFL. It is a chilly night now. Wind chill down around 5 degrees, which has slowed the offense, I'm sure, to some degree. And Mike McCarthy, his team simply has a half of football to get into the playoffs, and they have to find a way somehow to beat Chicago. And the Bears are trying to validate their seeding. Right now they're the number 2 seed. I don't think they get a lot of respect around the NFL as a dangerous team, even though they're going to be at home week 2 of the playoff season. And here they are on the road against a team that's been hot, and they have shut them down here through the first half.
And the other part of that is knowing you have a bye next week. You know, you got to be real careful as to how much time off you take. But he'll be monitoring that this entire second half.
Danielle Manning on the return. Can't make it out to the 25. So well played by Green Bay. Little pop-up kick by Crosby and well covered. Let's go down to the field and Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, Lovie Smith summed up his defense this way. He said, we'll continue to do what we're doing and hopefully get some momentum on offense. Mike McCarthy, meantime, he says we got to clean up the little things. I asked him if he happened to know the Giants score. He says, no, there is no need. Back to you.
Well, there it is right in the top right-hand corner of your screen. 10-7 at the half. Giants on top of the Washington Redskins. If the Giants win, the Packers lose, the Giants are in. If they both lose, Tampa Bay is in. If the Packers win here today, they get that last spot. Matt Forte dragged down by A.J. Hawk, a gain of 4. The only other piece of the NFC puzzle will be determined tonight, and that's a simple scenario where the winner of the game between St. Louis at Seattle wins the West, and they're the number 4 seed.
Yeah, and I would be surprised if Mike McCarthy's not aware that Tampa Bay won earlier. And so therefore, it all comes down to what they do in this game. I mean, it's real simple. They have to win this game.
2nd down and 6. Forte to the right. Good blocking out in front of him. 1st down Chicago as Forte is out near the 38, an 11-yard run.
That's a pretty good start here to this second half by Matt Forte, who had a nice first half running the football. And I go back to Mike Martz, and and what he has done here over the second half of the season, running the football, ran the ball more in the last 8 games than they threw it. In fact, he said, hey, we went from just trying to survive to actually trying to have success. There was a stretch there in the middle of the season, especially right before the bye against the Redskins, where this offense was about as bad as you could get. So for them to make the transformation that they have made has been quite impressive.
Here's Cutler with time, steps up, has a man, it's dropped. Greg Olsen does not have a catch in this game. He finally got a shot at one, and he could not make the catch.
Well, and Jay Cutler has time to throw this ball, and it was a deeper route by Greg Olsen down the middle, but this is a ball you just got to be able to make a play on. And you say he hasn't had a catch. Joe, 7 times this season, he's been held to 1 catch or less in a game. I keep hearing about how good he is as a receiver, but yet he hasn't gotten more involved this year. And I believe Mike Martz would get him involved if he was as productive or could be as productive as what they have said.
Here is Forte on 2nd and 10. Matt picks up 4. Well, Olsen last year led this Bears team with 60 receptions and 8 receiving touchdowns. There's no doubt, though, that part of it has to be that he's had to stay in to help block because the offensive line was so horrendous the first half of the year.
Well, I do think that that's been part of it, but all I'm saying is that for a guy who can create matchup problems like he should be able to, I think I could find someone else who can block and get him out and help out as a receiver, because they do need some more of that.
It's 3rd down and 6. Wide open, Rasheed Davis for a first down. Forced out by Tramon Williams after a gain of 9 and a conversion on 3rd down.
It looked like Tramon Williams got caught to where he had to defense 2 guys. It looked like there was a bust in coverage there, and he had to make a decision on whether or not he was going to cover Greg Olsen or if he was going to go on the outside slant or outside route by Rasheed Davis. So he couldn't be right, and Jay Cutler was going to have his pick opposite of whoever he covered.
First down at the Green Bay 48. Forte. Pickett. And Ryan Pickett was there to meet Matt Forte after a gain of about half a yard.
This defensive front by the Green Bay Packers, Ryan Pickett there, and we've talked about B.J. Raji and the others. It's a big group, and without Colin Jenkins, they really do lose something. I mean, Colin Jenkins is a big body that can rush the passer, but even without him, there's a lot of weight up there amongst that front 3 when they're in their base defense.
Empty backfield on 2nd down, tipped into the ground, incomplete. Off the right hand of Rasheed Davis. The Bears are playing today without Earl Bennett, who is not active. He's got an ankle injury that he suffered last week, and so they're resting him, and Rasheed Davis has been the major target. Cutler with 9 completions, 5 to Davis, 4 to Matt Forte. 3rd and 9. Blitz off the edge. Cutler over the middle, completes it. Forte won't get the first down. In the arms of A.J. Hawk. And Hawk held up Forte at the 42 yards short of a first down.
Good recovery by A.J. Hawk. Matt Forte, when he got off the ball, he got A.J. Hawk to turn around and had his back to the line of scrimmage there briefly, but he was able to recover and then make a tackle on Matt Forte short of the first down. And based on where they're at right now on the field, I'm not surprised at all that the Bears will be going for it.
4th and 2. That ball is knocked into the air, incomplete. Trying to again get it to Rasheed Davis, and the Packer defense holds on 4th and 2. Good field position at their own 40 for Green Bay, down by 3. Get something going, down by 3. This matches their best starting field position of the game. Rodgers still trying to find somewhere to go, picked off Tillman. Interception by Charles Tillman, what a catch. There's an extra football on the field on the far sideline, and Tillman is still on his feet down at the 15. The 11th interception thrown by Aaron Rodgers.
What an unbelievable play here by Charles Tillman, laying out and being able to secure the ball for the interception. You know, once again, Aaron Rodgers having to scramble around and just no clean throws.
That ball moved some when Tillman came to the ground, and Mike McCarthy has thrown the red challenge flag. There was another football out on the field that got off the Bears sideline and was rolling around where the players were trying to bring down Tillman. Here's another
Green
look.
Bay is challenging the ruling on the field of an interception.
It's a challenge by Green Bay. We'll get the call when we come back. Did Tillman have it? It's a challenge by Green Bay. And Mike, the question first of all on Tillman's interception, did he maintain possession going to the ground? And then the other part, did the ball hit the ground here?
Yeah, hey, Joe, that's the big question here. Is the ball on the ground? Because he does lose possession here, and that you could see him losing possession. So it's at this point right here, does the ball ever get to the ground? And when you stop here, looks like the ball does bounce off the ground, although I got to tell you, they ruled it an interception, and we sometimes get away from that initial ruling point. But, you know, again, I look at this play. We're going to look at this action right here. Ball does touch the ground and then comes loose. I think you got to overturn this to an incomplete pass.
Remember, the Chicago Bears in Week 1 were winners at home over the Detroit Lions when a Calvin Johnson catch was ruled not a catch on a touchdown that would have given Detroit a win. Here's the call.
The ruling on the field of an interception stands. Green Bay will be charged with a timeout, and that is their first challenge.
So it cost Green Bay a timeout. The bigger point is, according to Alberto Riverone, that ball did not hit the ground. And there will be much debate about that, depending on what happens the rest of this drive and eventually the end of this game. And Mike McCarthy, I'm sure, is shocked after I would imagine coaches in the booth told him that ball came loose.
Yeah, I thought, though, looking at it, you could make the argument that his hands were underneath the ball at the time that, you know, it simultaneously hit the ground. So I just thought it was awfully close, and as Mike said, the ruling, as it was an interception, that was a hard one to overturn, I thought.
It was a 42-yard return by Tillman, and now starting at the 15, Forte runs into the arms of Matthews, and there's a flag down.
Well, that flag that got thrown came in way late.
We're going to take you to a game break.
Holding number 63. Offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
They get Garza, and we go for a game break. Here's Kurt.
Well, the Giants have been struggling against the Redskins to start the second half with only a 3-point lead. That is until Eli Manning and Mario Manningham hook up for a 92-yard touchdown. Giants now lead at 17-7, and as you have said before, Joe, if the Giants win and Green Bay loses, New York is in the playoffs. Joe, Troy, and Pam.
All right, Kurt. 1st and 20 for Chicago. From the 25, Matt Forte out of the backfield. Can't get around A.J. Hawk. And Hawk got help from Woodson. No gain. 2nd and 20. Let's go back to the penalty on the hold on Roberto Garza.
Yeah, Roberto Garza. Yeah, he's got, you see it on the left of the screen there, he's got Ryan Pickett by the chest, which is what was called. But a nice play there by A.J. Hawk. The Bears try to run the screen there on second down, or on first down, and it was executed very well defensively by the Packers.
So on 2nd and 20, Cutler runs out of time and then runs into the arms of Walden. Walden, who has his first sack of the year, makes a play there, chasing down Cutler, a gain of 1.
Yeah, Cutler, he's able to escape, and you know what we've seen from Aaron Rodgers is what we see here of Jay Cutler, that he's got a little bit of time, but just nobody on the back end helping him out. I mean, Cutler could have just gotten rid of that ball and avoided a hit. He only picked up about a yard on the play.
No sack. A gain of a yard, and so now 3rd and 19. Cutler with time, end zone, intercepted. Pepra. Cutler tried to force it to Johnny Knox. Charlie Pepra has his 2nd pick of the year. Packers take over down 3.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun.
The interception by Pepra. Each quarterback throws one here to start the second half. And now Rodgers hands off to Brandon Jackson, who picks up 2. Julius Peppers on the stop, back to the interception by Charlie Pepra.
Well, you're going to see Jay Cutler is a little bit late on the throw. He's not able to get a lot into it, but Charlie Pepra, he is on. They're throwing it to the short side of the field on a corner route, and where he's positioned, it's an easy interception. I mean, Cutler recognizes the coverage, sees what he's got, but for whatever reason, he just turned the ball loose late. He did that a few times last week against the Jets, got away with it. That was a huge interception in giving up an opportunity to at least come away with 3 points.
Jennings catches 1 for 6. This is a Green Bay defense that took it away 6 times last week against the Giants. They get their first takeaway here today. And now it's 3rd down and 2. Coming the other way for the Packers, down by 3.
Sorry, Joe. It's a secondary, the Packers is. It's very opportunistic. 3rd in the NFL coming into the game with 22 interceptions. You hang balls up like that, they're going to get picked off.
On 3rd down, Rodgers going to go for Jennings. Overthrown. And so Aaron Rodgers, who has been a hot quarterback, throws the interception. Pepra gets 1 to give it back to him, and now it's 3 and out.
Yeah, you see Greg Jennings, he had a step, pretty tight coverage. On the other side, he had Andrew Corliss, who had about 3 steps on his guy. But, you know, as good as Aaron Rodgers was and this offense was last week, they just have not been able to really get any type of momentum, rhythm going. And a lot of that is because of this play by the Bears defense. They've been excellent.
Hester will stay away, and it takes a good Packer bounce. Green Bay offensively has 1 play greater than 12 yards all game. They've done nothing against Chicago's defense. Bears have it up 3.
New episodes Tuesday on Fox.
Giants doing what they have to do, winning at Washington. They are in if Green Bay loses. Cutler, receiver fell down, and then like a defensive back, Johnny Knox gets his hand up and knocks it away from Tramon Williams, who was sizing up his 7th interception.
Yeah, well, Johnny Knox is getting challenged the entire way down the field. Contact at the top of that route. You're right. Tramon Williams thought he was going to get an interception there. Johnny Knox, who, as you said, he fell at the top of the route, but he does do a good job of at least getting up and knocking the ball down. Otherwise, it's going right into the stomach of Tramon Williams.
2nd and 10. Knox has been shut out. 960 receiving yards coming in. Quick throw right into the ground. Rasheed Davis And it's 3rd and 10. This is a defense for Green Bay that's ranked 9th in the NFL. As you watch this ball go right into the ground, and a little tip by Woodson on its way brings up 3rd and 10. Capers has put this defense together, played through injury. A big chance for this Packer defense. Over the middle, pass is caught, but short of a first down. Rasheed Davis again. Walden is there, and it's 3 and out for Chicago.
Well, I saw what Jay Cutler saw. Davis, he's running a slam route, looked like he was open, could have been a better ball, but then Jay Cutler sees Color out in front of him by the Green Bay Packers, and he couldn't lead him the way that he had wanted to. Charles Woodson has been very impactful here over the last 4 or 5 defensive snaps, came on the blitz off the edge, and Forte picks it up, but Cutler knew he had to get it out.
And now Maynard. It's a good one. He's had a nice day. A cold day here at Lambeau. Tramon Williams. Room to run. Maynard can't stop him. Kellen Davis drives him out of bounds. 41-yard return. Exactly what Green Bay needed, down by 3. They'll start inside Chicago territory. Temperature has dropped to 14 degrees, wind chill 3 degrees. 41-yard return by Tramon Williams. Sets up Green Bay at the Chicago 44. It's Starks. And Starks plows ahead just shy of the 40, a carry of 4 yards back to that return.
Well, Zach Bowman, he's able to get down the field and put a little pressure here on Tramon Williams. If he's able to break down, not an easy tackle for him to make running full speed, but there were some other opportunities down the field, and Tramon Williams just did a good job of running with the football once he got a lane, giving this Packers offense great field position finally.
Came in hearing about Devin Hester with good reason. The Packers wary of punting to him. Special teams advantage for Chicago, and it's play made by Tramon Williams. Penalty flag will fly as Jennings was interfered with by Jennings. Greg by Tim.
Number 26, defense. The ball will be placed in the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Pretty physical right there from the snap. Tim Jennings trying to get inside leverage there on Greg Jennings, and then up front with Chad Clifton and Julius Peppers with the hand to the headgear.
That interference is a 6-yard penalty and a first down. Starting to creep toward field goal range for Crosby. 52-yarder from here. Rodgers hits Jennings in stride. Down to the 1.
Well, Brandon Jackson does an excellent job picking up the blitz off the slot, and a nice route at the top. Tim Jennings, he slips when Greg Jennings runs the dig route, but because of the protection and the nice job by Brandon Jackson in protection, it allowed Aaron Rodgers to throw that ball with some confidence.
Longest play from scrimmage for Green Bay, 33 yards to Greg Jennings to the 1. The crowd wants John Kuhn, number 30, to carry it. He gets it, and he goes nowhere. First guy there was Adonijay, and it's 2nd and goal.
So exact same formation, same play they ran when they got down in here earlier in the ball game. When you try to run it, they haven't had much success running it here against this Packers front. I would expect that they'll go play action here on 2nd down.
Starters still in for Chicago. Trying to knock out the Green Bay Packers. 2nd and goal. Rodgers Drops it back for Jackson. And Jackson will lose yardage back to the 4.
Well, Aaron Rodgers tries to fake it like he's going to run the quarterback sneak. And he got caught up in the line of scrimmage. Tried to sell it a little too much, actually. When he came back, he then failed to make a good throw. And they... I don't know about that call there. I just think the Packers are too good in too many other areas to try something like that, but they lost yardage.
Remember, that's a lateral, so that ball was live. Now it's 3rd and goal. Rodgers steps up. Down he goes, and the play made by Tommy Harris. What a stop by the Chicago defense. A 1st and goal from the 1, and a sack for Tommy Harris on 3rd and goal.
Well, look how he plays here. I mean, he's stumbling around. You got College who's on him, but he kept playing. He just kept playing. He was on the ground a couple of times trying to get his footing, and he just kept playing and then saves what could have been an easy touchdown.
So a 23-yard try by Crosby. The return by Tramon Williams set it up. Questionable play calling, and a 1st and goal from the 1 nets only 3 points. Tie game. Tommy Harris came into this game with just half a sack on the year. He got a full one on 3rd and goal on this play, and as you said, he just kept playing.
Yeah, it's a nice job by him, and you know, in what has been a disappointing season for him. There's no question the expectations have been awfully high for him throughout his career, and he came into this league and played at a very high level and then battled through some injuries and got benched earlier in the year. He's playing better than what he was at that time, and that's why he's recaptured his starting job, but he makes a heck of a play right there to save a touchdown, keep this score tied.
Crosby hits it high, and it is returned by Danielle Manning. He's a good one too. Danielle Manning out to the 49. And there is that advantage that the Bears have on special teams. It's a 26-yard return on a short kick by Crosby. Danielle Manning, who is number 5 in the NFC returning kicks, averaging over 25 yards per return, has a good one here. And the Bears just keep playing. They marked him up at midfield. So that's where Chicago starts in a 3-3 game. They fake it to Chester Taylor. All day for Cutler. All day just ran out. Down he goes. Howard Green.
Mike Martz with the great field position. He wants to take a shot down the field. They see Hester, running on the post route. They had him with Tramon Williams, but he's getting helped by the safety Collins over the top. And even though Cutler had time, you had to wait for that thing to develop to see if there was going to be a shot down the field. And by the time he realized there wasn't, he ends up taking the sack.
Howard Green, first one there, claimed on October 27th after being released by the Jets. 2nd down and 19. Cutler backpedaling as he throws to Olsen. Pass complete. There's Eric Walden again. Free agent out of Middle Tennessee State. He's been all over the place in this game. Cotton Bowl is coming up. AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic. And that matchup right here on Fox. It's 3rd down and 15.
I think we need 1 or 2 more bowl games. Then that'd be just about right.
This one is for a berth in the playoffs for Green Bay. Big 3rd down for Chicago. Just a 3-man rush. Underneath. Pass is caught. And it's a 1st down, Chester Taylor. And now they're saying no play.
The snap, Chicago called a timeout. That is the first This will be a 30-second timeout.
This crowd has never been happier to hear of a Chicago timeout.
No kidding.
So there's no play, Troy. That takes a first down off the board.
You've got to believe it came from the sideline then, and Mike Martz.
Martz or Lovie Smith or somebody over there, because it didn't happen on the playing field.
It looked like Lovie still had his hands in his pockets, so yeah.
Let's take a look at the sideline.
See some clapping going on right there, but I don't know if he was calling a time. I don't know. Couldn't tell exactly if that's what they said. Well, there it is right there. It was Lovie Smith.
Lovie Smith went right to the official at the 45 and called it 3rd down and 15. Again. Cutler sacked again. Eric Walden has had a tremendous day.
Eric Walden right here. He comes late on a delayed blitz. He first lets the offensive line get engaged with the defensive front, and then he came, and Cutler couldn't find any. We're seeing that really with both of these quarterbacks. Both these secondaries have done a nice job of covering people up and just not giving their quarterbacks anywhere to go with the ball.
On a bounce, Tramon Williams coming off that big return, gets one block and can at least take it out near the 24. 41-yard punt by Brad Maynard. So that timeout, but a big turn of events in Green Bay's favor. Timeout called by the sideline and Lovie Smith. They're the offensive leaders for Green Bay, who just had a 1st and goal from the 1 and went backward. It's a 3-3 game, and it was a catch of 33 yards by Jennings that set it up, but the Packers could not pound it in. 32 seconds left in quarter number 3. Starks at tailback. Rodgers drops it off to him, and he is met immediately. A gain of 3. Urlacher is there, and Urlacher is headed to his 7th Pro Bowl. He's had a resurgence. A big part of it is Rod Marinelli taking over at defensive coordinator. Marinelli's made that defensive line play better in front of Urlacher, and Brian's been there. He's their leading tackler. 3-3 game after 3. Back after this from your local Fox station. Two hot offenses coming into this game are trading body blows from the two defenses. It's 2nd down and 7 as we start the 4th quarter. The Bears had a 1st down taken off the board because of a timeout called by the sideline. Packers took advantage of another chance. This could be on the defense and Corey Wooten, the rookie who came across, and it will be on number 98.
Neutral zone infraction, number 98, defense, 5-yard penalty.
We'll go back and take a look at it. You see here the assistant coach who begins signaling timeout. He's got a headset on, so he's talking in the headset that there should be a timeout. And here's Lovie Smith then. And so, piecing this thing together, it appeared that the assistant coach was talking to Lovie Smith through the headset, signaling to call a timeout. That's when Lovie did, right before the snap of that ball.
Here's John Kuhn fighting for yardage, and Kuhn will lose half a yard. And so now, after getting the 5 free yards with Wooten coming across, it's 3rd down, and the running game is non-existent for the Green Bay Packers here today.
They haven't been very good all season long running the football, and we know that, but boy, they have really been shut down in this one.
46 yards running, and couldn't get in from the 1 on 1st and goal. 3rd and 3. Four-man rush, pass is caught. First down, Donald Driver, and a big completion on third down by Aaron Rodgers. 21 yards to number 80.
Well, we talked about how the Bears like to disguise. You're going to see right here that first they show that they're going to be man-to-man, single deep safety, but they go to their two deep shell, which opens up the middle of the field. Aaron Rodgers, he recognizes it, sees it. Donald Driver recognizes it as well. He takes the middle of the field, and just a nice completion there by two veteran players.
Fifth catch for Driver. They fake the handoff. Rodgers with plenty of time has a man. What a throw! Down to the one is Jennings again. Six yards from Aaron Rodgers.
Well, Aaron Rodgers wanted to go to his left side, but they had safety help and he wasn't open, so he comes back then to his front side. Initially, the safety to that side was in a great position to make a play on Greg Jennings, but instead he drove on Donald Driver in the middle of the field, which opened up the sideline throw for Aaron Rodgers.
DJ Moore saved the touchdown with a tackle. And here are the Packers again. They fake the handoff. Wide open Donald Lee. Touchdown Green Bay. The 46-yarder to Greg Jennings set it up. And then Aaron Rodgers found his 9th different receiver of the game. His name, Donald Lee. First touchdown of the afternoon. Packers up by 7. For the Green Bay Packers and their fans, 10-3 with 12:42 left. Donald Lee has touchdown catch number 3. None of them as big as that. As Crosby hits a line drive. And they caught Manning up, expecting a pop-up kick. And Crosby drove it over his head.
We'll go back to the big play down the field. Here's Daniel Manning, the safety, and he's in a great position to cover Greg Jennings on the outside. But when Aaron Rodgers looked to his left, it caused Daniel Manning then to drive on Donald Driver over the middle of the field. And it opened up that sideline route then for Greg Jennings. And then this is the touchdown. I think Mike McCarthy just said, hey, I've had enough of trying to run it down here. We'll just, on first down, go play action. You know, the Bears have been overcommitting down there on the run, have been successful stopping it, and just a nice call there by Mike McCarthy.
Here's Forte. Gets a yard. Howard Green, the first guy there. Again, you say this about Chicago, and this is probably saying it one time too many, but they came in, Troy, with nothing to gain except a chance to sweep in their own division, a chance to knock out Green Bay. No matter what happened today, they were going to go into the playoffs as the number 2 seed. Their starters have played throughout. They've played hard. Now they trail by 7. 2nd and 9. Blitz. Broken up. Bishop made the play on Johnny Knox.
You know, it'll be interesting, though, Joe, is if the Bears get down by 10 points or get down by 14 points, then what Lovie Smith would decide to do. I mean, in light of the way this game has unfolded, and also based on what Lovie had said during the week leading up to this game, I don't know that he's in a position right now to just pull his guys out. I think that this game's got to get a little bit further because of the score.
3rd down and 9. Another blitz. They keep coming. Cutler fires incomplete off the hands of Sam Shields. Intended for Johnny Knox, and it's 3 and out again.
Well, Hero, about the last 9 or 10 defensive snaps, we've seen Charles Woodson, number 21, coming just about every time. Tight coverage there on the outside. Sam Shields, who has really grown remarkably. I mean, the fact that the guy can play 1 year as a defensive back in college and be able to do the things that he's done this year and play more than anybody would have anticipated, that's awfully impressive.
This punt takes a hop. Just happy to hang on cleanly is Tramon Williams. They will start at their own 46. Great field position for the Pack. They just sang roll out the barrel here at Lambeau Field. Defense has played great for the Packers. Rodgers keeps it. Airs it out. Greg Jennings overthrown. Tim Jennings defending for Chicago. And it's still the starters in there, Urlacher and the rest of them, for the Chicago Bears. As you say, I mean, the competitor in you's got to keep the starters in the ball game. Obviously, there's a risk of an injury. You think about New England last year losing Wes Welker in Week 17. They ended up losing a playoff game at home to the Baltimore Ravens, but Chicago has played a good game, and they're staying after it. Toss to Starks. Penalty flag flies. Starks running hard. Got about 10, but a flag is down.
Holding number 75. Offense. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
They get Bulaga for his 2nd hold of this game.
Yeah, the other one might have been questionable, but I don't think this one was. He tackled the guy here. You can see him, number 75, and with an inside release, he gets his left arm around his neck and brings him down. You talk about Lovie Smith playing the starters, Joe. The thing that I've been impressed with as a player, I've been in this situation before, and you usually go into the game thinking you're not going to play the entire game or it's a half-hearted effort. And I've been impressed with what I've seen, especially this defense. I mean, these guys, Julius Peppers, Brian Urlacher, Brigham, these guys are playing hard.
They play great. Here's Starks. He's been the most impressive running back easily for Green Bay in this game. On 2nd down and 20, you saw that stat. It was a Packers franchise record. With 18 penalties they committed in that September 27th game at Chicago, a 3-point Bears win. They have 3 penalties in this game, and Bulaga, the rookie right tackle, has all 3.
And I think that sometimes when you're playing a team for the 2nd time within your division, you think back to that first game and all those penalties, and okay, well, that's why we didn't play so well and why we lost. It's a much better Bears team, as we pointed out today, than what they were back in Week 3.
Setting up a screen for Jordy Nelson. Has blocking in front of him, and Nelson is wrestled down a yard shy of a 1st down by Tim Jennings.
I think Jordy Nelson kind of made a bad decision there at the end of that run, because James Jones was doing a pretty good job on Tim Jennings. And had he have just stayed inside of that block, he picks up the 1st down pretty easily. Instead, Jordy Nelson veered off towards the sideline, and then Jennings was able to make the play.
It's 4th down and 1, and Mastay comes out, and his job is to keep it out of the hands of Devin Hester.
Easier said than done.
Pops it up. Hester stays away, and it takes a good Green Bay bounce. They're going to mark it inside the 5. A 42-yard punt. Bush was down to touch it. Good work by Mastay. Bears have it down 7. Enjoying this telecast on January 2nd, 2011. 10-3 Green Bay. They win, they're in the playoffs. Chicago starting at their own 3. They start with a throw over the middle. Pass caught by Olsen. And Greg Olsen is knocked down at the 9, a gain of 5. Desmond Bishop on the stop.
Well, they have been able to get Olsen going a little bit better. I mean, not much offense to speak of for the Bears, but he has had a couple of opportunities, more than what we've seen in some other games this year.
Talk about not much offense, Troy. Only 7 first downs this game for Chicago, 2 in this half, and it's 2nd and 5. This is Forte. First down. Knocked out of bounds into a cameraman by A.J. Hawk is Matt Forte. A gain of 7.
To kind of go back, Joe, to what we're talking about as far as the Bears continuing to play their guys. You know, remember back 7 years ago when Lovie Smith was named the head coach in Chicago. I mean, he right there at the introductory press conference, he said the #1 goal is to beat the Packers. You know, and this is a meaningful rivalry to him, and this is a meaningful game, and it's showing based on how he's playing it here.
Sam Shields came on late, had to sprint to the far side of the field. Now he's lined up across from Aromashodu. It's a handoff for not much to Forte. Woodson made the play. A gain of 1. You can check out the all-new Fox Sports app featuring complete local and national sports coverage. Fox Sports Radio, live scores, video, and more. Get the #1 sports app in America for free on iTunes today. 2nd down and 9.
Well, I'd be expecting 21 to be coming on a blitz again. That's what he's been doing a lot of.
There he comes. Woodson's there for the sack. Number 21 made the play.
Been around the ball the entire second half, and just about on every passing down he is lined up on the slot and he's come on the blitz. And the Bears have been in a position to make a play on him, but that time Brandon Manu-Maliuna should have been able to pick him up. He was assigned to him, but just a good job by Charles Woodson. This guy does such a great job around the ball, and that's why they like to have him there in that slot position in their nickel packages.
5th Packers sack of the day. 3rd and 17. Just a 3-man rush, and still Cutler gets rid of it somehow to Forte, but they're going to say Cutler was down at the 2. Clay Matthews got there.
Clay Matthews does a great job of anticipating snap count, and you're going to see the speed off the ball. You know, you got an athletic guy like Clay Matthews, and then a big man who's working backwards. That's hard to do. They've done a good job on Matthews throughout this game, but just the sheer speed of Matthews off the corner, he's able to get to Cutler.
So they're going to say that Cutler was down before he got rid of it, and from the very back of the end zone, Maynard will punt it. And a punt, and a good one. Tramon Williams on the Bears side of the 50 is brought down immediately, and a good play by Corey Graham. Nothing on the return. Packers will start in Chicago territory, up by 7.
Central on Fox.
There's the Giants score in Washington. 7:37 left, up by 10. It doesn't matter what they do if Green Bay wins this game. They lead by 7, and they start at the 46. Handed off to Brandon Jackson. He gets 4. Say this for James Starks, who comes back in the lineup, the rookie, who didn't even play his senior year. He was a 6th-round pick out of Buffalo. He may not practice well, but when he's gotten the ball in his hands in this game, he looks like the running back with more burst than anybody the Packers have run out there the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I think they like him. I think Mike McCarthy likes what he is capable of doing, and as we talked about, it's about him becoming a better practice player. He's a raw talent, but he's gotten his opportunities, and he's done a good job with them here.
Here he is, spinning forward. They're going to mark him
the ball carrier
down immediately. A gain of just one. Anthony Adams was there, and so now a third down as the Packers try and take advantage of what their defense has done, which was force the short field with all the blitzes and the sacks, and now it's 3rd and 5.
Yeah, great field position. Neither team really has been able to do anything when they have had good field position, but this is a down where the Packers, for the season have been pretty good, but neither team has been good converting on 3rd down today.
There's Bulaga with his 4th penalty. His 2nd false start.
Number 75, offense, 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
1st round pick out of Iowa. He's had a rough day.
Yeah, I think he was hoping that they'd call Melton on a neutral zone infraction, but yeah, he's had a tough one.
Makes it 3rd and 10. So the ball back where they started after Maynard had to punt out of the back of his end zone.
10 from the 46.
Sprint Rodgers to his right, and now he just hops out of bounds. What a good job by the Chicago defense as they were helped by the penalty. No 1st down picked up by Green Bay, and even though Aaron Rodgers is smiling, he's had a couple of big ones to Greg Jennings, but for the most part this Green Bay offense has been shut down.
Yeah, no, the Bears defense has been outstanding. To give this Packers offense the kind of field position that they just got and then force them to punt is just an excellent job. They've been really good all night long. And I think that's one of the reasons why they've got a chance. Yeah, they've given up some yardage in recent weeks, but they've got a chance in postseason, if for no other reason because of the play of the defense.
Jarrett Bush is downfield again, and Mastay, a first-year player, has had a tremendous day with the specter of number 23, Devin Hester, waiting deep. He's been about as good as the Packers could have hoped for. A 37-yard punt down at the 2.
It's just an excellent job, Joe, and I know that, having played with someone like Devin Hester and Deion Sanders, and, we would hear teams talk about it like the Packers did all this week. Hey, we're just not going to punt to them. Well, that's hard to do. There's only a few punters in the league that can really be effective, directional, kicking it and doing those types of things, but Mastay's been outstanding.
Doing it on a night where the wind chill's 5 degrees down to 3 degrees. Over the left side, it's Forte. That was a quick shot of Sean Slocum, who is the special teams coordinator for Green Bay. He's the 2nd one during Mike McCarthy's 5-year tenure now here with the Green Bay Packers, and that group has been picked apart all season long. And he's had to answer some tough questions. Well, his group's done a nice job when they've needed it most here in Week 17.
And he's got to be working on fumes. I mean, I can't imagine that he got much sleep this week.
2nd and 6. Handoff to Forte. Bishop makes the tackle. Forte out to the 11. 3rd and short coming up, but the clock now winding down inside 5 minutes. Each side has 2 timeouts left. Green Bay up 7.
It's a pretty good job, though, by Chicago getting it off of the goal line and now setting up a 3rd and short.
There's Kevin Green, the outside linebackers coach for Green Bay. It's 3rd and 1. Throwing on 3rd and 1, and the pass is caught by Olsen for a 1st down. A 6-yard completion. Under 4 to go.
Mike Martz on 3rd and short earlier in the game, they threw it, they failed to convert, and they come back to it. And you see the ball kind of come loose there on Greg Olsen, but he's able to bring it back in as he's going to the ground. A nice job of getting the 1 1st down to get off of the goal line and give themselves some room to operate here.
Blitz coming off the edge. Cutler throws, and a one-handed catch by Olsen. He's trying to prove to you, Troy, that he is as talented as Mike Martz says he is. Martz said he's the fastest tight end he's ever had to work with, and he's good for 6.
Yeah, no, I'm not disputing that at all. I'm just suggesting that they could find ways to get him more involved. I know in talking with Mike Martz, he said that, you know, he feels bad that he hasn't been able to use him more as a receiver and do some of the things that he does so well, because he has had to be used more as a blocker, but they have gotten him the ball more here tonight.
Second down and 4, quick throw, and the ball is batted down. Charles Woodson. Woodson was a defensive player of the year last year. He hasn't had that type season here, but here today, he's playing like a defensive lineman. He's at the line of scrimmage every snap.
Well, he was so good last year that I think he was so good last year as defensive player of the year that it's hurt him this year. Everybody thinks he's having a down season. Well, it was next to impossible to think that he was going to match what he did a year ago.
Third down and 4. Cutler buys some time, picks up a first down. There was confusion at the snap. It looked like some of the Green Bay players stood up thinking there was a false start. There was no flag, and Cutler picks up 7 and a first down.
Everybody kind of relaxed initially, but they got the pressure. A.J. Hawk up the middle, and Cutler was able to, like B.J. Raji was the guy who had a chance on him, there before he got going up the field. But that was a concern of Dom Capers, is the scrambling ability of Jay Cutler and being able to extend plays, doing a nice job picking up the first down.
Time becoming a factor, 2.5 to go, 2 timeouts, and the 2-minute warning for Chicago. Over the middle, Olsen. Bishop in on the stop with Walden, and a gain of 6.
Guess who blitzed on that play?
21?
Yeah, he did, and so they're having to get the ball out pretty quick. That's why we're seeing Greg Olsen doing some of the things that he's doing. But Jay Cutler he has been under duress there in the pocket and forced to get it out of his hands quickly.
2 minutes left. We're at the 2-minute warning. 2 timeouts for Chicago, trying to spoil it for their arch rival, the Green Bay Packers, who lead by 7. The score from Washington, 3-point Giants lead. Giants have the ball, 4:50 left. 2 minutes left here. Green Bay 2 minutes off this scoreboard clock from claiming a playoff spot if they can hold Chicago. Davis. Rashid Davis makes the catch. He had enough, it appeared, for a first down, and he does. Brought down by Pepra, who has an interception in this game.
Pretty good job of bringing that one in by Rashid Davis.
9th play of the drive. Cutler throws. Shields defending. Johnny Knox. Looked like one of those potential back shoulder throws, and it never materialized. Now 2nd down and 10. Again, 2 timeouts remaining for Chicago as they are trying to knock the Green Bay Packers out of the playoffs. Three-man rush. Pass behind Forte, caught by Matt Forte, and he's got another Chicago first down into Green Bay territory. A.J. Hawk on the stop, 1:16 left.
Pretty good weapon when you've got a guy like Matt Forte being able to come out of the backfield and be the receiving threat that he is.
Another blitz from Woodson. Cutler throws, sideline dropped by Knox off his left hand. Shields out there defending.
Yeah, you talked about that back shoulder fade that he tried throwing a couple plays ago, and it looked like that's what Knox was expecting on that play, and Cutler expected him to continue up the field. He leads him up the sideline, and Knox is kind of slowing down, thinking it's going to be more of the back shoulder throw.
If you're just joining us, for the Green Bay Packers, a win and they're in. Their offense, for the most part, which has been rolling, has been shut down. Chicago with nothing really to play for except the chance to knock out the Packers, have played their starters throughout, somehow completing it. I think left-handed to Forte was Cutler, no gain, and now the Bears will spend their second timeout.
It was left-handed. I mean, he got tied up. He, four-man rush, and there's so much speed coming off those edges, and then the inside press. He's just trying to get away from his own guys and make a play, and the only thing he could do was deal it out left-handed to Forte.
And now it's 3rd down and 10. Here's a game summary for those of you joining us. The day for Cutler. He's been intercepted, as has Aaron Rodgers. Packers clinch a playoff berth with a win. Neither team's really been able to run the ball very well. The Bears better than the Packers. Total of 110 yards for Chicago, 61 for Green Bay. These two defenses have played extremely well, and the special teams have been good for Green Bay.
Been seeing a lot of blitzing by Dom Capers in this situation. They've been getting home, but they opened themselves up to a big play down the field.
Here comes Matthews off the edge, working on the rookie. The pass caught. Hester down inside the 35.
Sam Shields is in a great position to make a play. That time Capers does not bring the all-out blitz, doesn't bring Woodson off the edge. They instead play coverage, and they were in a position to make the play, but Shields just failed to make it.
Under 30 seconds left. Cutler, Aroma Shadu, broken up by Tramon Williams. 20 seconds left, 2nd and 10.
And here's the play we just saw with Tramon Williams, and it was kind of a defensive effort there by Aroma Shadu, because Tramon Williams was in a position there to drive back on that ball, and then here was the other play where Hester is able to make the play. Shields, who was in good position on the coverage, was stumbling as Hester's coming out of the break.
One timeout left for Chicago, 2nd and 10. This one for Hester, too high, picked off, and the Green Bay Packers will ride into the playoffs on that by Nick Collins.
They pressure you so much, Joe, that as a quarterback then you make a mistake, a high ball, and Nick Collins there to make a play. When the ball sails on you over the middle of the field, you're in trouble, and Nick Collins has got as good a ball skills as any safety in football.
So the Packers are 10 and 6. They are in the playoffs as the number 6 seed. You see the handshake at midfield, Troy. I got to tell you, I've been impressed from the start with Lovie Smith's team to slug it out to the bitter end here in Green Bay, but it's Mike McCarthy's crew that stamps their ticket for the postseason. The Bears are the number 2 seed with the playoffs coming up.
Well, you can't say enough for the job that the Green Bay Packers have done all season long, what they've overcome. 2 games to play, have to win to get in. They do it. And now they're 3 games away from getting back to where they want to go, and that's the Super Bowl.
Green Bay relied on big plays from Dom Capers' defense, got plays from their maligned special teams. And in the end, an interception ends it by Nick Collins, his 4th of the year. Packers are in the playoffs. Back after this.
Packers clinch the final wild card in the NFC. Bears finish the regular season at 11-5, 5-1 in the NFC North. And here is a look at the NFC playoff picture up to the very second. The Packers clinched the final spot in the wild card scenario, so they will be the 6th seed. And then it's up to the Seahawks and the St. Louis Rams tonight to decide who will win the West. They will gain the other spot. The Saints took the wild card as Atlanta won at home against Carolina. Let's take a look at how the first round playoffs will set up. It'll be the Saints traveling to either Seattle or St. Louis. Again, that game will be played a little bit later on tonight. And the Packers will travel to Philadelphia to take on Michael Vick and the Eagles. Today, Philadelphia sat basically all their difference makers out on offense. And with that, Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to U.S. Cellular Bears Postgame Live. I am Pat Boyle, joined as always by two-time Super Bowl champ Howard Griffith, Super Bowl winner himself, former Bears quarterback Jim Miller, and our lead blocker, Dan Jickets. Well, first off, credit the Bears for not treating this game like it was a preseason tilt. The Packers, for most of the contest, hardly looked like a team that was playing for their postseason lives. All that said, I am shocked that I saw Jay Cutler orchestrating a final drive there. I know you're going to say differently, but I don't get that logic, because without number 6, without number 22, you got no shot in 2 weeks.
Ifs and ands with pots and pans, the whole world.
But that's reality. We see it every week.
Here you go. Here you go. You played down that far. So what are you just going to punt? No. This is what this game did for this football team. It showed them, and Howard, we're talking about it just a minute ago. It showed them just exactly what a playoff scenario is going to be like. This is the intensity. When you saw them come down in that 2-minute drill, that's stuff you can't get at practice. That's the stuff you're going to need in a couple of weeks. Just that intensity and that feeling of you either get it or you go home.
But Jay walks out of Lambeau Field throwing 2 picks. Bad picks. Yeah. Certainly the first one was horrendous, forcing something there at the end. Where's his confidence at?
Yeah, sacked 6 times on the day.
Did he walk into the postseason with more confidence?
Jay, you worried about Jay's confidence? You talking about a guy that threw 4 picks earlier in the season to the same guy? He's not worried about it. Trust me, he's not worried about it. He'll be in great shape.
Yeah. You figure you got a couple of weeks off. And you got to get that feeling. I mean, because when you look at Green Bay, when Green Bay walked out in that field today, did you think that was a team that was going, hey, you know what, guys, we win this game, and we're in the playoffs?
Didn't look
they
like
weren't playing like it.
No, it didn't look like
so you don't want to go out in your first playoff game and play like that. You want to from Jump Street. You want to be.
Let me take you back to 2006 when they went to the Super Bowl that year.
Right.
They went 13-3. They played in their final game, Week 17. They played a half. They got their butt kicked in. Now, obviously, this game dictated that you had to keep your guys in there if that's the way you were treating it.
And the difference is, if you look at the offense, there's been something that they've been trying to do for the last 8 weeks, and that is get that offensive line to keep improving and keep coming together. They didn't do it today, but that was one of the objectives, is you got to get that offense squared away and keep it consistent week in and week out.
This is the only thing where I disagree with, because it is kind of a meaningless game. Throw out stuff you never run before. Do the meaningless stuff early in the first half. I wouldn't have cared. I would have went for it on 4th down. I mean, I know the game never declared itself where Lovey could pull his starters, because I worried about Jay getting hurt too, because they have no shot if number 6 not lining up. Even New England pulled Tom Brady today. But hey, players get paid to play on Sundays. You respect Lovey because it was a game and he wanted to win because it was the Packers. But, man, I thought they were very lucky for number 6 not to get hurt today, because they saw a lot of different blitzes by Green Bay's defense.
But let me ask you this. What do you think they're going to see when the playoffs start?
Same thing.
You'll
see those same blitzes down.
So you got
my point is,
practice. You got to practice in today against all of those blitzes.
Yeah, but they were in a situation where they could come down and on that drive possibly win the game, because you had to assume that they would go for 2 in that scenario.
It was because it was the Packers, right, Howard?
That had something to do with it.
If that was anybody else,
I will say this as well. This is a much different team than the team that they had that went on the Super Bowl run. This is a different team. I don't know if Lovie Smith trusts this team the same way. You don't know how they're going to respond.
You're right, but here we're saying working on those blitzes. Why not work on stuff you haven't run all year and put it on tape for your opponent to prepare for? I remember back in 2004 when we went to the Super Bowl, Tom, we're going no huddle the whole first half. We hadn't run no huddle all year long, but put it on tape. Show your opponent that, hey, You haven't seen it all year, and now we're working it.
And it took us halfway through the season to get the running game.
As always, we want to get interactive with you in this show. Tom Cooper is monitoring your questions and comments over at csnchicago.com. Coop, what is everybody saying out there in Bears land right about now?
A lot of people upset right now. Obviously, as you guys have been debating the whole show. Is this a forebear for what's to come in the playoffs? This is bare omen going forward. So the chat's getting hot and heavy right now. Come on over, csnchicago.com, Bears PGL Interactive. And so you know, I rested my normal starting computer. I got this little one right here. So at least I gave my starter a week off, but come join the chat, csnchicago.com.
Way to take one for the team, Coop.
There you go. I didn't want to get it hurt with the second round of the playoffs.
He's just a little guy.
I'll just say, look at this thing.
You're a technical wizard, though.
I tried.
Get that thing fixed.
You type to win the chat. Hello.
Time now for the McDonald's Angus Third Pounder Player of the Game. Each week we want you to vote on the Bears Player of the Game. Just log on to csnchicago.com with whatever laptop you have and cast your vote there on the Bears page. This week's choices, Matt Forte. Again, he goes over 1,000 yards. He had 91 on the day. How about Rasheed Davis?
Big time.
Stepping up big. He's been great on special teams all year. Big part of Jay Cutler's passing game on this day. Charles Peanut Tillman had the big interception that was all for naught. Brad Maynard certainly got his foot worked on a bit today as he punted very well for the Bears. Again, it's your McDonald's Angus Third Pounder Player of the Game. Bears Postgame Live is brought to you by McDonald's of Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana. We'll have the results of our McDonald's Angus Third Pounder Player of the Game later tonight on the late edition of Sportsnet Central Sunday Slant. But we get this thing going with our Xfinity opening kickoff. And for that, we start with our lead blocker, Dan Jiggets. Jigs?
Well, I think I made my point a little bit earlier. You know, this was the priming and getting ready for a playoff kind of atmosphere. And let's hope that there's one thing that they realize out of this ball game today, and that is what it's going to be like, what that intensity is going to be like. Because anything that you do in the course of the regular season, once you get to the postseason, step it up a couple of notches, because that's what it's going to feel like. And certainly, you also learned today, you know what, there's still a lot of work to do on picking up the blitz.
Yeah, I echo what Jig said. Offensively, we know the Bears struggled today, and you credit Lovie Smith. Fine, they're playing to win the game, especially a storied rivalry like Packers-Bears. Love the effort, love how the team went out and played. One thing I come away with, that's a championship caliber defense. This team is going to be just fine come postseason.
Yeah, you know what? Let the real season begin now. This is going to be an exciting time now for the Chicago Bears. I love what the NFL has done and put these division games at the end. Now you have a situation where the Chicago Bears went out and played all 4 quarters with an opportunity to win. Sure, it didn't end up the way they wanted to, but they got some valuable playoff-like experience today.
I just want to ask the guys that went to Super Bowls about that. Coming down the stretch, because we never got that far when I was with the Bears. Playoffs, yes. Super Bowls, no. But when you come into that final week of the regular season, were you guys already locked in, #1 seeds and all of that, nothing to worry about? Or were you kind of in that, that area where you wanted to fine-tune some things?
Well, I've done it both ways. We've gone in and been the #1 seed, and then we've also gone in and had to be the wild card and had to go on the road and win games to get an opportunity to go to Super Bowl. And every team is so different, and I think that's why you saw the drastic change. And Lovie Smith, people have talked about what happened on their last run to the Super Bowl, but you have to go out and play. If you're not confident, not sure about what your team is going to give you, you have to put them in those situations. And today was a great situation where the players didn't know if they were going to come out of the game. I think that's the most important part. Right. They didn't know whether if they played a quarter or 2
quarters. You tell about the end of the third quarter, guys are kind of looking around.
I've been on both sides. Bill Cowher, he rested the starters when we had it locked up. Bill Belichick, we had it locked up. Because the effort was so bad our last week, the starters stayed in the whole game, so it can go either way from the coach's standpoint.
One thing I take out of this ball game, and the way the NFC playoff picture is set up right now, the Packers will take on the Eagles. If somehow Green Bay upsets Philadelphia, they will go to Atlanta because they are the lowest seed. So it's not like we're going to see the Packers there in the second round of the playoffs. But I also take a Packers team that went to New England and gave them all they could take without Aaron Rodgers. Spanked the Giants last week. They looked very, very beatable today.
Yeah, they did.
I look at the NFC landscape, and other than the Atlanta Falcons, every team has warts. Every team has put one of those performances like the Bears did against the Patriots a few weeks ago. Every one of those teams has that in their repertoire.
But you know why? Because they don't know each other. They're in different conferences, different divisions, ultimately. Look at the Bears. I mean, we saw Green Bay light up the New York Jets last week, or the New York Giants last week. Look at how Bears, the last 4 times they've played, they've kept Green Bay under 20 points. And this is one of the most powerful offenses in the NFL. It's because we know each other so well. I'd rather the Bears play the Packers again, because I think we got their number.
Because one of the things that scared me going in, and during the week I said, the guys in the spotlight are going to be the Bears secondary because of what Aaron Rodgers and his receivers are capable of doing. They have 5 guys with over 40 receptions during the season. And the one thing that worried me was the quick slants. Now, for whatever reason, we talked about it during the course of watching the game, they took that away from Green Bay today. And Aaron Rodgers had to figure out a different way to try to beat these guys, and it took him a long time to do it.
Yeah. The only reason Green Bay scored a touchdown, go back in the third quarter, Tim Jennings gets the pass interference call, and then he falls down on an in-cut, the back-to-back plays. They get down there. He gets benched. The Bears make a great stand, hold Green Bay to a field goal. Jennings gets benched for Bowman. Next series, he gets roasted on a 9 route.
Yep.
That's the game right there. Lovey got upset about 2 back-to-back plays by Tim Jennings, who I think has done a great job all year.
Yeah, he's done a real good job. Coming over a guy no one I don't think expected to see starting.
We're going to bring you Jay Cutler live here on US Cellular Bears Postgame Live. We'll bring you Lovey as soon as he steps to the podium.
He's still alive now, right? I mean, Jay Cutler. I mean, I know you were worried about
it. Hey, let's talk about Jay. You bring him up.
He's ready to call 911 for him now.
Well, I am after I saw that interception he threw. The first of the 2 that he threw. He can't throw that football. Double coverage on the left side.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, so are you glad you saw him for an extra few series so you could see that? Or
yeah, because I think maybe now he won't do it during the playoffs.
Oh, right, okay. All right.
Well, I don't like seeing him running for his life. I mean, Manu Maliuna cannot block Charles Woodson. Yeah. Are you kidding me? That's a 300-pound tight end. Can't block a 190-pound guy. That's embarrassing. It got Jay Cutler killed.
Well, I mean, we've seen Jay. Hey, you know, Lovey is stepping to the podium, and certainly he'll be asked about why he kept his starters in. Let's go live to Lambeau Field.
A game like this, you expect the game to go right down to the end, which it did. Have to give the Packers credit. They had to come in and win the football game, and they made a few more plays than we did today. We did some good things. Felt like early on, especially in the first half, there were times when we had control. You have to score points, though, and moving the ball and having momentum is one thing, but you have to be able to get the ball in the end zone. We had some opportunities. The turnovers really hurt us. On the other side, the takeaways by our defense really kept us in it. But I'm still proud of the effort that we gave today. Proud of our football team as we look at the regular season, and that's what we're going to do. Disappointed in the loss today, but not disappointed in what the team has been able to accomplish up until this point of winning NFC North and getting the bye week. So that's where we are right now. We'll take a few days off and see who our next opponent will be and get ready to play back at home. Take your question.
Moving forward, what are the benefits of playing in a hard game like this? What can you carry forward into the playoffs?
Well, knowing that we had the bye week and we weren't playing for an awful lot, we wanted to just keep momentum going. We hadn't peaked yet. We still thought there were some things that we can improve upon, and that's what we went into the game to do. As we told you all week, the 16-game schedule, season-wise, it's a great opportunity for us to get into the playoff mode as much as anything. You know, they have a chance to, as it turns out, to play against a playoff team and see how we matched up.
Can you talk about injuries? Some players off the game?
Yes, Nick Roach, shoulder injury. You know, whenever a guy doesn't finish the game, you're concerned, but we think he'll be okay. Let's see who else. Chris Harris has got a stinger in the game late. And Major Wright has some type of leg injury. Don't think any of them are serious, but hopefully with a little bit of time off, they'll be ready to go.
Did you think about taking Jay out there in the fourth quarter?
And why would we do that? I mean, there was a game on the line. We're trying to win the football game. No, that was never a part of the mindset at all. We have a week off, and we saw it like that. Last time we were in this position, we had a lot of guys banged up, and we kept some guys out. We didn't play them the entire time. But for us, we didn't have any injuries. Great time for us to get some good work in and try to improve.
Lovie, are you concerned that after last week when the offense looked so good that maybe you took a step back in this game?
Not at all. Offense has done too many good things. It's a good defense. You have to give them credit for a lot of the things that happened today. But again, we had ourselves in position at the end of the game to tie the game and possibly win it. So there's not a whole lot of disappointment on my part right now for our team.
Lovie, it seems if there's two decisions to make, one personnel, who to play, who not to play in a situation like this, the other strategy, what to show, what not to show. Was there a fine line to walk in terms of what you wanted to represent for your team to scouts watching you?
No, I think this late in the year, most teams know what you're going to do for the most part. If you've gone through a 16-game season, there's not a whole lot that you're saving. So I don't think that's a fact at all. We just wanted to, again, put our guys in positions to make plays and just try to take a step, try to improve as much as anything.
Lovie, can you clarify the timeout call when Jay picked up the 3rd and long in that situation?
What do you mean clarify?
What happened? Who called?
I called timeout. We weren't in the right formation for the play. That's what happened.
Can you talk about Jay's performance, please?
We'd like to have a couple of throws back. But I thought Jay, played hard like the rest of our football team. He's done a great job this year of leading us to 11 wins so far.
Lovie, the protection issues, is it an isolated incident, or do you feel like that's something you're concerned looking at?
I think it's a concern every time you give up a sack. We probably, it's a little bit too much pressure on our quarterback today. A lot of reasons for that. Again, man, there's nothing negative about what happened today. The things that we need to clean up on, we have a little bit of time to do that. This will, again, be a good measuring stick as we go forward.
So full packages were in, you weren't vanilla at all?
We're trying to win the football game. Vanilla, we're trying to win the football game like we always do.
Was this an opportunity, and did you see your defense kind of get it back together or bring it back a little bit?
Did we lose it?
Pardon me?
You said get it back. Did we lose it? No, I don't think we lost it before. Teams are going to score a few points on you, but defense has played great ball all year. And I was pleased with the effort that they gave today.
Lovie, Johnson Hester didn't have much of an impact on the game. Was it just a case that Green Bay's got some pretty good quarterbacks and they took them out of the game?
Yeah, again, you have to give them. We can't sit here and, I can't sit here and say that everything that happened to us was something that we did wrong. You have to give them a lot of credit. They have a good football team. They're going into the playoffs, and so for a lot of the things that happened today, yes, more them.
The special teams had a great game the first time you played these guys. Not so much a great game. I mean, not as good as usual, but not hurting you.
Again, they did a good job of keeping the ball out of Devin's hands for the most part. Their kickers did a great job of placing the ball, especially their punter, of keeping us backed up when it's a field position game. Thought they covered well. Again, in games like this, both teams gonna deliver blows and take blows, and that's what happened today.
Lovie, there's regular season speed, postseason speed. Is the offense, in particular, the offensive line, ready to take it up to that next level?
I think we are. To get 11 wins, you're up to that level. And playoff, regular season, we're 11-5 football team. We're a good football team, and we're ready for someone to come to Soldier Field as we wait after we've earned that bye. So we're excited about playing our next home game. Thank you.
Lovie, after the 10-3 loss, drops them to 5-1 in the division. They were trying to become the first team to sweep the NFC North, first team to win the NFC North/Central since 87 when the Bears did it that year. Here's a look inside the numbers on this day. 284 total yards for the Pack. Rushing yards advantage to the Bears. Passing yards advantage goes to the Pack. Both teams coming away with a couple of turnovers. Well, we heard Lovie say they played the entire game with their starters because we haven't peaked yet. We wanted to carry momentum into the playoffs, and that's what they did. Mm-hmm. And hopefully, like the major right injury and the Chris Harris injury won't be that serious.
Yeah, one of the things you look at, if this team is going to win in the postseason, it's going to win with two things we know of: special teams and defense. Yep. Those are the things that are going to win for you. And anything that the offense kind of adds to that is cherry on topping on the pie.
I'm confused with those questions on Lovie Smith. Are the Bears a number 2 seed or no?
Right.
But, it's always going to be negative. It's a close game. Games are going to come down to it. It's a division rival, and you give them credit because they brought the intensity, they brought the effort, they brought the passion. Some things they do need to clean up just fall a little short.
Yeah, think about this. If he had not played his players today, had an opportunity to rest, they would have gone 3 weeks without playing meaningful football. So when you think about trying to hold on to the momentum, to keep them ready, because their starters aren't going to practice a lot. This is going to be more of a walkthrough, more of a situation to get healthy. So it's going to be a lot of, in the classroom, a lot of film work. So they're not going to be running around banging each other. So it's a great chance for them to get healthy.
They had a couple of guys come off the bench and play today. Rasheed Davis played real well today.
Certainly did.
So there were guys here and there. We got to see Zach Bowman at the end of the game. There were
Devin Aroma Shadu sighting.
Right. So there's some guys sprinkled in. Des Clark was healthy and enlisted today and went out and actually played in the game.
The most work he gets is with you at Chili's on Tuesday nights. I love Des, but it's been a rough year for him. A lot of emailers chiming in. He is healthy. Yeah, well, when you don't play, you can be pretty healthy. Okay, this is from Lucas in Fort Wayne. He says, okay, Bears are winning going into the second half, running the ball pretty good. Then they come out throwing the ball. What was the run-pass ratio in each half? Why pass so much? Your thoughts on that? We're trying to save Forte a little bit?
Well, I think the Bears, like I said, there was never a point where the game declared itself. I think that was the move by the Bears where, hey, let's make a run at this if we're going to try and score and try and end this thing. And then, unfortunately, we had a couple of bad situations happen, the sacks, things like that, that shot them in the foot. But I think overall, they ran the ball pretty effectively, especially in the first half.
We'll check this. Probably the Patriots game might have been, but this is the first time since the bye that the pass-to-run ratio is this different. 39 passes to 20 runs on this day. That is something we haven't seen. But again, that might be something you said, hey, let's do some things that we aren't going to do in the playoffs. Let's do that now. I guess I'm puzzled at times. You're doing things to not put things on tape. Then you are doing things to put things on tape.
When you look at a game like this one, though, you think back. Remember, Johnny Knox didn't have a catch into the third quarter, I think it was. I don't know if he had caught one after. I can't remember. But, that's different than what we've been seeing. How many times was he targeted in the ball game? Yeah. How many times was Greg Olsen targeted in the first half? So those are some things maybe they felt like they could exploit in the second half because they didn't go to him in the first.
Howard can add to this because it skews your statistics. Yeah, they're going to know what you did in the game and you're going to do the anomaly things. But overall, when teams break you down to get where they present the players the statistics of your game plan, like on a Wednesday, now those are all skewed. Hey, the Bears threw more screen passes than they did dropbacks. Oh, the Bears threw now more 7 steps and they ran this type of protection and third downs. It skews the statistics where, granted, they just have to work a little harder to figure things out what you're doing.
And keep in mind, there were some subtle differences in this game. You talk about Greg Olsen being in the backfield. The first 2 plays, he lined up at the fullback position and got some good blocks today. So there's some things that happened. But I go back to last week even. You start to think about Mike Martz really starting to get back into, or you see the offense getting comfortable with what they were doing. You talked about early in the year when you saw Forte coming out of the backfield, catching a lot of screens and a lot of wheel routes. I think you start to continue to see Mike Martz start to have more of an influence in this passing game, which he needs to, because that's what you need to win the playoff games.
Your thoughts? We heard Lovie say that 3rd and 15 call where the time clock is winding down. He calls a timeout. They actually got the play off and got the first down. They would have been on the plus side of the field, about the 40-yard line, I think, of Green Bay. Instead, he calls a timeout on the sidelines. As we're looking at this as, the big picture, does that bother you going into the playoffs when you have something like that happen?
You don't want to see those things.
We got our obligatory first quarter timeout.
Yeah,
I was okay actually with this one.
We have to cover that. They should actually do that in the first drive.
Just call the timeout just so we're working with
something like that, you said they were in the wrong formation now. The play was successful, and that's what everybody goes, so what? But, if you don't see the right formation and you're the offensive coordinator, chances are you want to call a timeout. Or some disaster could happen.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was that so much as they just panicked because they saw that the clock was running down.
It could be that the clock was running down, but they did show in the replay that one of the sideline coaches was in the earphones. But because what I saw is Devin Hester comes in motion. It's kind of like the receivers are looking at each other like, why are you there? And so I think that might have caused the coaches to panic a little bit. Unfortunately, the Bears got the first down, but hey, Starts at the top. The head man said timeout. Guess what? A timeout is called.
I've never seen him actually make the call that quickly before.
Yeah.
Usually the ball snapped and they go, oh, well, so what?
But I don't disagree with the call. In a situation where the clock is at 1, listen, call the timeout. The only reason we're really discussing it is because they were successful on the play. But I think now all of a sudden you see your head coach is in tune and understands what's going on. Call the timeout if you need to. Avoid the penalty.
The clock was at 1 and that 1 was smoking too. Most drop off the board.
These guys will acknowledge this. Any defensive coach, it's a good thing that Lovey even knows the formation. Because the other coaches I've been with don't even know the formation.
What are they doing out there?
Well, we're wondering what was on in his headsets during the game. Apparently, he is listening to the rest of the coaching staff. We kid because
Jay-Z or something.
We kid because we can and we care. So the Packers take it 10-3. Bears finish 11-5. They'll wait to see who they'll face at home in 2 weeks. Let's talk about Jay Cutler. That first interception, can't make that throw. Another one inside the red zone. That's just it's the thing that's hurt him since he got to Chicago. He's cleaned it up a bit here, certainly in the second half of the season. Can't happen in the playoffs because we'll be talking about a one and done.
Well, the last one, it was the classic. I mean, and Jim, you can speak to this in terms of throwing the football, settling down and firing the ball. Because Jay has a cannon of an arm. And sometimes I think maybe that's too bad because he gets himself in a little bit of trouble with it.
You're right. It almost enables him. The red zone interception drives me nuts. That would have been a 47-yard field goal, very makeable by Robbie Gould. If he just throws it away, or even if he steps up and elects to run it, who knows? Get it another 5 yards and give Robbie Gould a shorter opportunity. So again, that takes points off the board. At that point, it was 3-3. We would have been up 6-3.
Yeah, another situation where he sees he's pressing in the football game. It's on tape now. He can go back and review it because it's been a while since he's been in a situation where he's been pressing, trying to win a football game.
That's why I think that 2-minute drill was so critical. This football team, because that's when the stuff.
Bring him out for that.
The stuff happens so fast.
Caleb taking the third quarter most of the fourth.
And the other thing is you get gassed during a 2-minute drill because you're not a no-huddle team. It's just bam, bam, bam. I mean, you're out there and everything's exploding around you, and you got to figure out what to do. And I think that's something you're going to see in postseason play. So I applaud him for getting that in at least.
All in all, he ends up with the 23 touchdowns, the 16 interceptions, a drastic improvement. Right. Maybe it doesn't necessarily look at it statistically. I mean, he had 26 last year, 27 interceptions. Let's go back to that graphic if we have it for you, Bill. And I mean, he did make strides. And this entire offense made strides in the last year.
Right. Well, especially early in the season, throwing turnovers under duress quite a bit today. Again, when you're under duress, interceptions are going to happen to a lot of quarterbacks in the National Football League.
Drew Brees, over 20 interceptions this year.
Absolutely. So any quarterback is going to be affected if they get pressure and they're not getting that pass protection in the pocket, and they're going to make poor decisions just because they don't want to get their heads racked. But, it's pretty good. That's a good year for Jay. 26-16. Like it to be 2-1, but we know about the early issues with the offensive line.
There's two things, too, though. How many opportunities did he have in each one of those seasons? How many times did he pass last year as opposed to this year?
Let's go to Jay Cutler. He stepped to the podium. Let's take you live on Comcast Sportsnet to Lambeau Field.
They obviously blitzed a lot.
Yeah.
Was it as simple as that as far as why some of it seemed like Devin and Johnny, it was just hard to get them?
Yeah, they kept us out of sync. We didn't change a lot from last game to this game, and I think they did a really good job of taking away some of our hots, keeping us off balance in some of the hots. They were delaying some of their blitz and bringing those guys, but I think there was a stretch where Woodson came about every snap there towards the end of the game.
Yeah, you guys were able to get Matt going and get him off a little bit in some spots, so there were some positives out there.
Yeah. This doesn't change anything. As an offense, we're still very confident in our ability to move the ball and score. Tonight, that took some stuff away from us, but, we got to keep on. We got to keep moving forward. We'll take a look at this one, learn from it like we always do, and, we've got bigger things out of us.
Lovey said you guys didn't have the right setup out there, and then that's why he called the timeout, and you guys had picked up the first down. What was wrong out there?
We were having some problems getting lined up. It was loud out there, so we had some troubles getting the call in. But, we got it snapped. It's just one of those things that he's got to make a judgment call, and we'd already got a delayed game previously, so I understand why he did it.
Jay, what are the benefits in your mind going forward this game Obviously, the raging debate was playing the starters or not. What did you think? What are the benefits?
You know, I mean, we haven't had a lot of crowd noise this year, so I think it was really good for myself, the offensive line, just to be in a hostile situation, have to get the play called, you know, get the motions and the shifts and everything correct. And, you know, it was a good learning experience, especially for myself and some of the young guys in this offense.
Jay, obviously deciding to play players is one thing. The strategy that you employed, you don't want to give away a lot. Was there an element of trying to be careful with that?
You know, we went out there to win the game. You know, what we called and what we didn't call, that's up for debate. But, you know, we had the mindset of we were going to try to win this game. We obviously didn't, but, you know, looking back on it, you know, we could have changed some things. We might not have changed some things, but we can't lose focus on what we're doing offensively. We got to believe in what we're doing. I think those guys in the locker room have all the faith in the world in this offense, and so do I.
Interception in the end zone?
Yeah, my leg got clipped a little bit there right as I let it go, so kind of floated on me. You know, Johnny ran a great route. If I would have been able to put it on, that was 6.
So despite the loss, do you think it was a good thing to leave the starters in?
Yeah, you know, I mean, Lovey never swayed in his decision. He said from the very get-go that we were going to roll in this game, and we did, even though Atlanta, you know, clinched #1. So, you know, we wanted to come in here, a tough environment. We haven't been in that in a while, so I thought it was a good idea.
What about after like the 6 or 7 sack?
Yeah, I might have been like, well, maybe we shouldn't rethink this one, but no. You know, we just got to take a look at that. I know what they were doing. I think our offensive line knows what they were doing. You know, so there's no real problems out there.
Jay, you guys usually benefit from great field position. It wasn't the case. They could have packed up a lot this game.
Yeah, you know, we've had it easy here. You know, the last 5-6 games with our defense playing and the kickoff and punt return, and they did a good job. You know, they had a game plan coming into it. You know, they were going to blitz us a lot. They weren't going to kick it to Devin and those guys, and they weren't going to give us any cheap yards. So, you know, hats off to them.
Did you feel like you had a harder time today getting your passes to go where you wanted them to go than usual?
You know, they did some really good stuff to us. You know, they had a really good game plan with some of their slot blitzes and mixing things up with the coverage and going some max coverages, and then towards the end just kind of, you know, doing a lot with Charles Woodson and A.J. Hawk and those guys. So they had a good plan. You know, it's nothing that we can't deal with. We just, you know, have to take a look at it.
Is this a blueprint? You think other teams will do the playoffs?
No, it's some of the same stuff that the Jets did. You know, we were able to take advantage of some 9s. You know, we didn't really have some of those going there late in the game where we could take advantage of that. But you know, like I said, it's nothing we haven't seen before. You know, it took us a little bit to really get adjusted to it, but by then, you know, it was too late.
Last time you guys had a bye, you know, a lot changed.
Yeah.
You guys came out of that bye, you know, pretty improved. Does it kind of give you confidence going into another period like that?
You know, anytime we can give a guy like Mike Martz an extra week, I think that's going to benefit us. And even though we don't know, you know, who we're playing yet exactly, we can get a feel for a couple teams, and Mike's going to take a look at us and self-scout us and see what we've done good and bad. And you know, the way we play offensively, I don't think we're going to change much. You know, that's just kind of my gut feeling. I think that Mike is pretty confident in where we're at and where the offensive line's at and the receivers and how everyone's playing.
You looking forward to your first playoff experience?
Yeah, it's going to be fun. You know, I think this team is excited. I think they have a lot of confidence right now. So we just need to ride that wave.
The interception at the end, tell us what happened.
Well, it was a little high. You know, covered 2 and a little bit high, and drifted on me a little bit, so.
What did you think of that last explanation, Jim, on the cover 2 analysis where he threw it, the pick in the end zone?
Well, he says it's, you know, he got hit in the leg, you know, a little inaccurate. I thought Rasheed Davis was open in the flat. Or again, you elect to run it right up the middle and you got a shot at the end zone.
Here is Jason's the bye, 7-2. The 16 touchdowns to 9 interceptions, 2 of those coming today at Lambeau Field in the 10-3 loss. Let's check in one more time with Tom Cooper. He's monitoring what you're having to say on CSNChicago.com. Coop, what's going on?
Yeah, a lot of guys right now kind of positive, saying, hey, look, it's lost to the Packers, our rivals, we know that, but at least we're still the 2 seed, so the sky isn't completely falling. A lot more people, though, they see the loss to the Packers and they think doom and gloom. Talking about the Jay Cutler issues you guys have been talking about throughout. And also, a lot of guys ladies too, because we're gender equal here on CSNChicago.com. Talking about Mike Martz questioning the play calling, a lot of passing plays, Red, instead of going with the run there. So keep the comments coming, CSNChicago.com. We'll get to as many as we can throughout the show, Pat.
All right, Coop, we'll see you in just a bit. Highlights of today's regular season finale coming your way next. And we'll have our play of the year. The guys have given us their regular season awards. First, a look at our U.S. Cellular poll question. It is, did you agree with Lovie staying with the starters all the way to get the final wild card in the NFC? First quarter, Forte, 22 yards shy of 1,000 for the season, and he gets it with just 2 minutes left in that first quarter. First and 10, Forte takes it outside. A gain of 25 yards. He had a big afternoon as he goes for 91. A little bit later on in the drive, 3rd and 8. Cutler gets sacked by A.J. Hawk and Jarius Wynn for a loss of 9. Bears would punt. That was a theme in the first half of this one. Second quarter, Bears D does some damage too. 1st and 20. Aaron Rodgers under pressure, sacked by Urlacher and Henry Melton. Green Bay punts a few plays after that. Under 8 minutes left in the half, Cutler scrambling on 3rd and 2 makes a great play to Forte. Jim, you like what you saw here from number 6 moving to his left.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to get those shoulders square as you're rolling to your left. Watch him get his shoulders square to the target. Boom, delivers. Still a little bit behind Forte, but it gives him the ability to complete that football.
That's the mechanics that you like to see from Jay Cutler. But the drive ends with a sack 5 plays later. Cutler dropped for a loss of 8 by Eric Walden. Bears would settle for a field goal.
I don't like the pass protection. Obviously, they saw a lot of blitzes today, the Chicago Bears. If that was the thought process to get the improved pass protection versus different blitz looks, they got a little bit of work to do.
Jay was sacked 6 times. Packers 1st and 10 in the 3rd. Rodgers going for Greg Jennings, but Peanut Tillman with a tremendous pick. And then Charles takes it the other way, a return of 42 yards as he weaves his way to the middle of the field. Second takeaway for the Bears D. They're in business in Green Bay territory, but just 4 plays later, Cutler makes a mistake, looking for Johnny Knox in the end zone.
Yeah, watch with Rasheed Davis. He's open down in the flat here, just high-low in the corner. Rasheed Davis wide open, throws it. Minimum, if he doesn't throw that interception, makes a better decision, Robbie Gould's kicking a field goal, points left off the board there.
Late 3rd, 3-3 game, Cutler still in there, and he is brought down by Howard Green for a loss of 9. Same drive, 3rd and 15. A lot of people would like to have seen Cutler in a snuggie by this point. He wasn't. Eric Walden drops him. 4th quarter, Rodgers comes out firing. Looking left, nothing there. Goes right to Jennings in stride. Big gain, 46 yards. Did a nice job looking off the defender.
But look at that. There's a different corner in there, Zach Bowman, because the series earlier, they pulled Tim Jennings off the field. Zach Bowman gets in there, immediately gets beat on the 9
And Manning is coming over late, too, because I think he started to drift, too, when he saw his eyes looking at the left side of the field. Very next play, Rodgers to a lonely Donald Lee. Much better inside the 5-yard line, Green Bay, than the last time they were in that position against the Bears. 8 minutes, Cutler going back, and Charles Woodson got to do a better job of Woodson, Defensive Player of the Year last year.
Without a doubt.
All over the place.
Mr. Versatility.
Per usual. Seems like the Packers blitzed all game long. Clay Matthews there, 6 sacks in all for Jay. 20 seconds to go, 2nd and 10. What happened here?
Just high on the throw. Aaron, like to see him better mechanics, too. Have his feet set, hit the ground, hitch, and throw. And just he lets that football sail. I don't think he had his feet set completely.
So the Packers punch their ticket to the postseason. They win it 10-3. I think, Jim, we would all say the defense is where you need to be. They are playing a playoff brand of defense. The special teams, it is there. It is ready to go. Where is the Bears offense?
Well, it's interesting because last week we saw a team in the Chicago Bears, they get in a track meet, and lo and behold, they pulled off where they put up some of their biggest point totals the past couple weeks. Now they're in a nail-biter against the Green Bay Packers, and you somewhat lay an egg. So they have to do better in terms of pass protection because ultimately, if Green Bay's down the pipeline again, you have to learn to block the 3-4 blitzes. If that was the goal today, the Bears failed. So They should feel good that they can do both, win tight games and get in shootouts, but today was a little bit concerning with the pass protection again.
We had Jim, Jiggs, and Howard pick some of the plays of the year that they liked, the Bears' most valuable player, some of the other things, the turning point, most improved. We'll get to all of those throughout our 90 minutes here, but we're up to the play of the year, and here was the consensus pick. It was Devin Hester. Up, Kip Lewis will have player interviews from Lambeau Field. We will talk with Rasheed Davis. The guys will answer your emails, Steve Dahl's tweets, and we'll give you the most valuable player, biggest win, biggest disappointment. It's all coming up. Our post-game live season in .com is reporting that the Bears will play their first playoff game Sunday, January 16th. It'll be a noon kick at Soldier Field. Again, right now, ChicagoBears.com is reporting that the Bears will open up Sunday, January 16th at noon. They'll either play the Eagles, the Saints, or the Seahawks-Rams winner from tonight in their game against the Saints the following week. So New Orleans will travel either to St. Louis or Seattle. The Packers will travel to the Eagles. So basically, of the three teams that will be in at the end of the day, the Bears will only be able to face 3 of those 4. They won't face the Packers.
Which would you prefer?
Of that group? Well, certainly I'd take St. Louis or I'd take Seattle out of that group.
Excluding those
Plus,
two.
we owe them one. We owe Seattle one. They beat us earlier this year.
But I'd rather see probably New Orleans than Philadelphia, even just because we played Philadelphia before, and I don't like that.
So you want to bark at the defending world champs instead?
Yes. Yes, I do. Because on the road...
Give a jersey. Give a jersey, man. Huh?
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean,
you're thinking they come to the cold. They come to the cold weather.
Yes.
I'll say this about the cold weather. I think it really favors a team that can pass right now. Look at the performances that have been put up by the quarterbacks that have played in this kind of weather when the field conditions have been poor. The passing game has really played well for the opponents.
I'll ask you guys, who would you rather play?
Drew Brees played at Purdue. He can throw in the cold weather. That's all I'm saying.
He's got 21 interceptions this year. You know.
Give me the Seattle Seahawks.
Well, of course. I said that excluding them. Do you think Seattle is going to... First of all, I don't think Seattle's going to win tonight, but we'll see what happens there. But do you think New Orleans will lose on the road next week? That's maybe the better
No, not against Philadelphia's defense. Philadelphia gives up...
Philly plays the Packers.
I'm just saying, how the Bears match up against those teams. I think the Bears have the athletes to match up against the New Orleans Saints, and we know Philly's defense is not that good. We should shred Philly's defense like what Jay shredded the Jets. They give up more touchdown passes than any defense in the National Football League.
They do, but on the offensive side, the last time the Bears played the Eagles, they contained Michael Vick. I don't know if you get him another bite at the apple, so to speak, does that happen again?
And honestly, that was the beginning of a major turning point for Michael Vick. He came in as one of the front runners for the MVP. Threw his first interception in that game. He's thrown like 5 picks in the last few weeks. It held out today, but things have changed a little bit as we've taken a look at Michael Vick and the Philadelphia Eagles. Here's their regular season comparison as we take a look at it. Pretty similar in a lot of areas. In the giveaways, they have 25 to 31 for the Bears. They've got 327 yards a game from the offensive side. They're averaging almost 24 points a game. But again, they're banged up a bit, and they had Michael Vick's number the first time around.
Other than the egg we laid against New England, I mean, one thing the Bears have done great defensively is we don't give up big plays. Here you talk about New Orleans, that's a big play offense. Philadelphia, big play explosive offense. Green Bay today, big play explosive offense. We minimize them all.
And the other thing is they make some big plays defensively today. Yeah. One play we haven't talked about was Peanut Tillman's interception. What a huge interception and return, a 47-yard return on that play as well. And I know they went back and reviewed it, but, man, he stretched out, grabbed that thing. He looks like he should be a receiver.
We're going to hear from Peanut Tillman in just a second. Let's hear from the guy that was targeted the most by Jay Cutler. That was one Rasheed Davis, targeted 10 times. He had 7 catches for 63 yards, and an interview with our Kip Lewis at Lambeau Field.
All right, thanks, guys, with Rasheed Davis. You've been telling me since last year, I'm going to bring it up every time. I'm a special teams guy. All of a sudden, 7 catches, 63 yards. Obviously, the loss is disappointing, but I know you have to enjoy getting the opportunity offensively.
Yeah, of course. I am a special teams guy, but when they allow me to play offense, I can play that too. I just try to do whatever the team needs for us to win, and I try to do my best tonight.
A lot of people were wondering, are the starters going to play a lot? Are you guys comfortable with the decision that Lovie made to play everyone the entire game?
Oh, of course, yeah. I feel like we played well. We just left a few plays out on the field. We had some opportunities to get in the end zone that we didn't capitalize on. Maybe it was a drop ball, missed pass, whatever, but I think we're getting better. And that's where you want to be at this time of year.
A couple of guys said, hey, no big deal. Obviously, you guys wanted to come in, you wanted to win this game. But on the flip side of that, you weren't playing for anything. So people said, hey, in our mind, it wasn't like a playoff game. Is that a fair assessment?
I guess, I know guys played hard. I'm not sure whether guys had that in their minds or not, but I just know we went out there to win this game. I played like I wanted to win the game.
You got a couple of weeks off. Does it do anything for you guys psychologically, this loss? Does it damage that, the momentum you build at all?
No, not at all. Again, we knew we were in, so in that aspect, it doesn't do anything to damage our psychological, and it doesn't do anything to damage us psychologically, but it's a loss. You try not to lose, but in 2006, we lost too. Worse.
All right, Rasheed, I appreciate you coming out here, standing in the cold. I know you're tired of this cold weather already.
Yeah, I'm a little bit tired of it, but I ain't that tired of it. We got to play in it. People got to come to us. Come to Chicago. It's lovely. It's going to be a nice spring day.
All right, I appreciate it. Hey, Rasheed Davis, guys, lead the team in receptions. 7 receptions for the Bears in this game. Let's go back to you in Chicago.
All right, Kip, thank you very much. It brings us to our All-State Good Hands top receiver of the day, and it is Rasheed Davis, number 81 with the 7 catches. His longest was 21 yards, and Jake's credit a guy who, as he's told Kip all season long, I'm a special teamer. I've been critical of him as a wideout. He accepted his role as a special teamer, played great on special teams this year, and then when he's called upon, did a nice job, so tip of the cap to Rasheed.
Oh, no doubt about it. A guy who I was disappointed for today was Johnny Knox. Johnny had an opportunity to go over 1,000 yards in receptions today, and he didn't have a catch today. He was targeted a couple of times, but he didn't have a catch today, and that's really a shame because there's a young receiver that's really come a long, long way, and today would have been a beautiful cap to exciting first season for him.
Jeff in Naperville asked this question at csnchicago.com. He says to Jim Miller, how can we counter the cornerback blitz better? It seems like all we do is the quick pass to the slot.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. One, you can slide your protection. You can scan your back. Howard, so those guys we used to call 62 scan, where the back comes across the quarterback's face, or you just tell them if you're in the shotgun, hey, line up over there, that's your guy. Again, just as long as you know that the offensive line is on the same page with you of who's getting who. The thing is what irritated me today, because they're trying to hit that same hot route instead of pass protecting it. Mix it up, call a wide receiver screen away from it, something like that to combat it, and the Bears never did it.
Because Woodson blocked 3 of them. I think he blocked 3 passes from that same position, on the blitz.
Yeah. Charles Peanut Tillman came away with a huge interception in this one and a big return as well. Did not lead to any points, but it did lead to an interview with our Kip Lewis.
So first of all, I'm going to start with the interception because that might be the nicest catch of the year on this team. Would you agree with that?
No, Chris Harris had a nice one. I forget what game. He had a nice diving catch. So I'm going to call it a tie between Chris and I.
So it goes to the defensive guys, though?
Yeah, it'll go to the defense.
Okay. Just your thoughts on the way this game played out. A lot of people were saying, hey, a lot of people didn't believe you guys were going to play. Did Lovie, was it pretty clear to you guys that the starters were going to play throughout this game?
Yeah, he never mentioned anything about starters only playing a half or 3/4, so it was pretty clear that we were going to play the whole game.
Losing this game, in the grand scheme of things, does it really mean anything to you guys?
Yeah, you always want to win every time you step out on the field. Whether it's Green Bay, rival, division game, whatever, you always want to win, and we didn't accomplish that today. So from that standpoint, yeah, we failed.
What's the key for you guys? You guys get a week off, obviously, to rest. What's the key for you guys heading into that first playoff game?
Getting better. Work harder on ourselves than anything. Watch the film and, all the mistakes that we've made all season. Now's the time to correct that. because it's either win or go home. That's the attitude.
All right, Peter, I appreciate it. The one smart guy on the team that refuses to go outside to do the interview, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
No problem. I'm not a dummy.
All right, guys, back to you.
All right, Kip, thank you very much. It takes us to our Four Seasons heating and air conditioning. Who's hot, who's not? From Week 17, Josh Freeman. 2 touchdowns in the Buccaneers win against the Saints. Yeah, bring on the Saints.
Keep an eye on this guy, Josh Freeman.
He is something else. Very low interceptions on the year, under 10 on the year. Michael Bush fills in for Run DMC. All he does is go for 137 yards and a touchdown. Send it in, Jerome. 123 yards and a tutty in, is that Marvin Lewis's last game as head coach?
That's Ocho Cinco's last game because Jerome Simpson lit it up.
There you go. Matt Castle, 11 of 33, 2 interceptions, a quarterback rating under 20. He's who's not. AP, no touchdowns in the Vikings game. And TJ Houshmandzadeh, just a couple catches. He was targeted 3 times. We're coming back. We're going to talk playoff situation, including the AFC. We'll hear from Brian Urlacher, Lance Briggs, rundown Week 17 scores. It's all coming up next. CSNChicago.com. And Moon joins us now for the view from the Moon. He joins us live from Lambeau Field. Moon, a lot of the discussion certainly in that press room was regarding Lovie keeping the starters out there for the entire game. He said, look, you know, they want to get some momentum going into the playoffs. Your thoughts on what the players were having to say in the locker room?
Well, you know, everybody, if it's public, they're going to say one thing. If it's private, in this case, they said exactly the same thing. I talked to a number of players just, you know, without the microphone on, without the recorder, without the pen moving. And to a man, they really said, you know, we needed this. We needed to play. They actually felt, a couple guys said this was as close to a nice playoff atmosphere because obviously it's Lambeau #1 and the Packers are playing for a playoff game. So there was, you know, everybody would like a week off. They're going to get that now. But I think to a man, they were not unhappy that they had to play.
Hey, Moon, you know, one of the things I was wondering about was the perception online and in general as you talk to people about Lovie Smith and the job that he's done with the Bears. It seems to me that whatever Lovie does, somebody's questioning it. And I was just wondering, is this something that you think fans are slow to warm to a guy like him because he's not so demonstrative, or what is it?
Boy, no, Jake, that's really a good question. I mean, there's lots of possible answers. It's actually mystified me, having covered coaches even going back into the Ditka era. I'm not so sure, having been to fan conventions and seen Lovie Smith interact with people, I'm not so sure that there isn't some of the media who really don't like him because he's not forthcoming. They think he's arrogant. And once that portrayal starts getting out there, you know, we don't exactly shape opinion, but, you know, if enough people don't like you in the media and they start putting that image out, people start to believe it. I personally, I have never had a problem with Lovie Smith. I wish he'd tell me secret things, but he doesn't do that. But no, I really am a bit of a loss because he's personable. He's great with the fans. Like I say, if you see him out and at training camp, he has time for people. I don't quite understand it. I've been around other coaches, and he gets along with people. I don't understand where some of that perception comes from.
Moon, again, Chicago had some trouble picking up the blitz. How concerned were some of the players, particularly the offensive line, been concerned about that situation coming into this game? Because as you mentioned and we've talked about, this was a playoff-type atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Howard, it's a good thing to raise. I mean, Jay Cutler was sacked 6 times. You don't want that in a game that theoretically doesn't mean a whole lot. The fair thing to say, which one guy said, you know, don't quote me on this, but, you know, that was a good defense, and they were bringing a lot of things as the game went on, even in the second half. They made some adjustments at halftime and really decided to bring, you know, far more blitz. I think Charles Woodson had one of the sacks, and again, I'm blanking on some of the individuals, but they threw some things at the Bears, not that they weren't expecting them, but people also forget this is a very good defensive team. So, yeah, there's some concern, especially if they have to meet these guys somewhere down the line.
All right, Moon, we'll look forward to seeing your work at CSNChicago.com. Safe travels back as we get ready for the playoffs in a couple weeks.
Pat, can I throw one more thing?
Absolutely.
Yeah, a CSNChicago.com operative has told me, and the Bears are cringing here. I asked Matt Forte, is he going to buy his offensive lineman something really nice now that he got 1,000 yards? He says, and maybe this is his first negotiating ploy. He said, hey, I'm still on my rookie contract. I don't have any money. I could hear Jerry Angelo holding on to his wallet at that moment.
Good point. And Jay Cutler's going to ask for the offensive line to buy him something for all the sacks he took this year.
Yeah, right.
All right, well, take it easy. We'll see you in the coming days, certainly on Chicago Tribune Live as we get ready for the postseason for the Bears in a couple of weeks. Let's take a look at now the Week 17 scores, the final weekend of the regular season. The Falcons took care of that top seed with a 31-10 thrashing of the Carolina Panthers. The Lions knocked off the Vikings off that short rest, probably, playing in Philadelphia on Tuesday where they shocked everybody winning that game. The Chiefs get manhandled by the Raiders at home. The Raiders go 6-0 in the division, finish the year 8-8, do not make the playoffs. Buccaneers, what a bounce back year that they have had.
Tremendous. I tell you that's a football team that a lot of folks don't want to see right about now.
And it's a banged up team as well that has somehow.
Credit to Packers too. I mean, when we talk about the numbers that they've lost, starters and such,
that's a great
tremendous.
point.
Even today, I mean, they were going without a lot of guys. Colin Jenkins wasn't in there on that defensive front.
Hey, 12 guys on IR, something like that, a ridiculous number. Jets, they take care of the Bills, 38-7. Steelers go on the road, win their big rivalry. They take the division. The Ravens squeak one out against the Bengals, 13-7, and the Patriots knock off the Dolphins. No problem in that one, as Brady was lifted after his 2-touchdown performance. Let's take a look now at the NFC playoff picture. Again, the Falcons and Bears are your 1 and 2 seed. The Eagles and the Rams, followed by the Saints and Packers. But again, the Rams will take on the Seahawks tonight. If the Seahawks somehow win that game at home with a 7-9 record, they would be the 4 seed, and they would be hosting the Saints next week. Let's take a look at the AFC situation. Well, first, the NFC games next week. Again, it's the Seahawks hosting the Saints, or the Rams hosting the Saints. That'll be a Saturday 3:30 kickoff. The Eagles will take on the Packers at 3:30 on Sunday. Here now is a look at the AFC. It'll be the Colts who picked up the division title as the Jaguars wilted down the stretch. They will host the Jets next week. Should be an interesting matchup in that one. And the Chiefs will take on the Ravens. Let's talk first about that Colts-Jets matchup. Credit Peyton Manning for getting that team going. You talk about injuries. They've had a slew of injuries. Collie looks like what he's done for the year. They got the running game going a little bit in the last 3 weeks as they went out to get in, and Jacksonville is sent home.
And the fact is that if you're going to vote, if you're going to watch somebody in the playoffs and say, again, a quarterback that you know can make a difference, Peyton Manning is there for you. And I don't care what the circumstances are. He is dangerous anytime he's under center.
Rex Ryan's cringing right now that he's got to face Peyton Manning.
He did not want to see him.
As you take a look at the other situation with the Ravens traveling to Kansas City, your thoughts on that matchup?
Well, I mean, Kansas City, this time of the year, it comes down to a defensive struggle. And I think Kansas City is going to struggle when they look at the Ravens because of what they can do defensively. Running the football with Ray Rice is what the Ravens have to continue to do if they want to advance in the playoffs.
All right, we're going to get into the NFC playoff picture in just a bit. The guys will give us their thoughts on the most valuable player from the entire season. We'll run down our regular season honors list coming up in just a bit. And a reminder for you to get interactive vote on our U.S. Cellular opinion poll, which is back on U.S. Cellular Bears postgame live. Packers take the regular season finale over the beloved. 10-3 was your final. Bears finish up 11-5. Let's check in with Tom Cooper and see what you're having to say at CSNChicago.com. Coop?
Yeah, check. Still continue right here at CSNChicago.com. We'll take your emails, too. Just click the link up at the upper right-hand corner of the screen. A lot of people talking about right now, hey, at least we got out of this game healthy. Thankfully, nobody major got hurt. Jay's okay. Peppers is okay. Urlacher's okay. People happy about that. A lot of people also talk about the wide receiver issues. It was Frank from Inverness, Florida, chiming in. We need some speed at the wide receiver position. No separation at all today against the Packers. Jay can't be shooting darts every single game. And finally, we're talking about playoffs. Playoffs. And a New Year's resolution here from Darius in Chicago. Here's an idea for Bears fans. Quit complaining about this loss. Look forward to the playoffs.
Sounds good, Coop.
Might as well. You got a week off to think about it, too.
From your laptop to our mouths.
From my slow backup laptop to you guys.
All right, we'll check in with you a little bit later on. Let's check out now our Bears postgame live season in review. We had the guys chime in on several categories. First off, biggest win, and here was the consensus. It was that Week 12 victory over Michael Vick and the Philadelphia Eagles. So it certainly was a defining moment because at that time, you didn't have that marquee big win over one of the upper echelon teams. That was it.
The Eagles came in. Remember, everybody was drooling all over themselves about what Michael and Vick had accomplished that time. Their defense was playing pretty well. Offensively, they were extremely productive, and they looked like they had the hammer on everybody. And the Bears shut Michael Vick down basically and went on and dominated him in that ball game. And that was a turnaround. There's another game though that could have been on that list. I'm thinking the Dallas game. Because I don't care how good or bad Dallas is. And again, a lot of people thought they were a Super Bowl team at the beginning of the season. But, they beat the life out of them. It was the Dallas Cowboys that they beat. Beautiful.
You could have also said the Buffalo Bill game because it was that first game after the bye week,
because they beat my guy Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, well, that probably too. Got to make it the Harvard situation. And we bring that up because the turning point, everybody said it was the bye week. Yeah. It was the change, the come to whatever conversation that Mike Martz had with Lovey and with Tice, and got that offensive game plan where they decided to run the rock more than they passed, and everything seemed to build momentum off it. And again, they went out and beat Buffalo at that neutral site game just 22-19. And that was a Buffalo team that had been playing better. So that was certainly a big turning point in this season, the change in philosophy on the offensive side.
Well, I think anytime you have a bye week, it's an opportunity for you to do some self-scouting. You can go back and see what you've done well and what you haven't. And for the Bears, they needed to run the ball to give this offensive line an opportunity to gel. They realized that they weren't being fair to the development of their young players up front. And the only way to do that was to make a more concerted effort to run the football, and they started to do that.
Most improved. Here's Johnny. Johnny Knox was your most improved as far as the guys saw. What did you see from Knox in the improvement of the wide receivers?
Well, I think for him, more consistency. I think he's done that. A lot less drops than what he had a year ago. He knows his assignments, and now you see what he can do to take advantage of his speed. 41 yards shy of 1,000 yards from year one to year two. That's big-time production and the improvement he's made in his second year.
Biggest disappointment, when we talked about those back-to-back losses where they lost to Seattle and Washington in the, what was that, the 4 interception game in that one. Seattle ends up with the biggest disappointment. Also honorable mention to Tommy Harris. Could have thrown maybe Chester Taylor into that mix. Most underrated Bear, how about Tim Jennings? 1 pick, a forced fumble, 7 pass defense. What are your thoughts on Jennings?
Well, Tim, I don't think anybody thought he was going to be your starter at cornerback, coming to the start of the season, but boy, did he come in and make a difference. And there's another guy, too, in that secondary that you could look at and say he's been a difference maker, and that's DJ Moore. Even though the guy's playing nickel, but you look at the impact that he's had on some big wins for the Bears this season.
Came away with a forced fumble on this
today, right?
Coming up, we're going to have our most valuable player on the offensive side, the defensive side, and overall. We'll also hear from Brian Urlacher, Lance Briggs. Keep it here on U.S. Cellular Bears Postgame Live. 1% said yes. And thankfully, nobody is hurt. Thanks for helping us out at csnchicago.com. All right, in 2 weeks, the Bears will host the game January 16th at noon. It'll either be the Eagles, the Saints, the Seahawks, or the Rams. Is this the type of team, though, that's going to get to the NFC title game, do you think?
Yes. In one show, yes. You talk about the Bears.
Yeah.
Yes, they will be in the NFC Championship game.
I like that. Jim?
Can we go back in time? What was the record I predicted the Bears would have?
11-5?
11-5. Yes, they're good enough to get to the championship
I
game.
think without a doubt, when you look at the way they're playing, particularly on special teams and defensively, this is a team that's set and ready to go.
We will see you in 2 weeks after that divisional playoff matchup right here on U.S. Cellular Bears Postgame Live.